All right, you and I are watching the real young master raising pigs, having just returned to his filthy rich family after 20 years. He was already completely despised by his own parents, so our guy instantly decided to trade them in for brand new parents. He marched straight up to his eldest uncle, an aunt who were delightfully childless, and said, "Uncle and Auntie, I want to adopt you two as my parents. Is that cool?" The second those words left his mouth, the aunt was struck with absolute joy and total disbelief. Meanwhile, his biological mother, standing nearby, instantly panicked like a cat in a bathtub. Why? Because the day he came home, his parents and sister not only failed to come out and greet him, they were too busy coddling the fragile emotions of their fake son. Looking at this pathetic little family, their faces showed pure disgust. He just scoffed, turned to his aunt, the only one who actually picked him up, and asked, "Auntie, are they actually my real parents?" His aunt steadied herself and nodded. "That is right. What's the matter?" He laughed coldly. "I am their real son, but why do I feel like they are staring at me with faces full of total disgust?" Everyone else in the room changed their expressions instantly. They definitely did not expect him to be so brutally honest. Now, we are about to see the biological mother finally peel herself off the couch, putting on a painfully fake little display of heartbreak. "Oh, my sweet child, you suffered so much out there." He smoothly dodged her touch and snapped, "Drop the terrible act. There is not an ounce of real heartbreak in your eyes, Beatatrix." His mother stood there looking dumb, but furious anger flared in her chest, as expected of a kid not raised by her side. Absolutely zero manners, she probably thought. She forced a stiff little smile. "I already prepped your room. Come, let mom show you your bedroom." She tried to grab his hand again. Our guy dodged once more and scoffed. "Oh, so preparing a room was more important than personally coming to greet your own son." Beatatrix missed his hand again, a flash of pure annoyance crossing her eyes. He stated casually, "No need to see the room. I might not even stay here anyway." Then he pointed right at Asher, who was roughly his age, and asked, "Who is he?" Asher completely froze up, his eyes instantly turning red, as his little hands gently tugged at the sleeve of the second sister standing right beside him. That second sister, Serafina, lowered her voice gently. "Asher, do not worry." Then she glared at our guy coldly. "I am your sister, Serafina Vance, and this right here is my little brother, Asher Vance." She deliberately emphasized those words, "my little brother." He let out an "oh" full of total sarcasm. "He is your little brother, so that means he is the exact kid who was switched with me." Asher trembled hard, his eyes turning red, like he was about to bawl. Hearing this truth bomb, the sister's face turned extremely ugly. She intentionally raised her voice. "In my heart, Asher is my real brother." He laughed coldly, "Treating him as your real brother? You really are completely stupid." Those words left everyone absolutely stunned. Serafina looked at him in total shock. "You dare call me stupid?" He sneered. "Yes, was I wrong? Do not tell me you forgot it was his biological mother who secretly switched me with him." This is where we see Asher's lips tremble, tears uncontrollably. Tears rolled down his face. Serafina gripped his hand tight to comfort him. "Asher, it is not your fault." She glared at Sterling. "Yes, Asher's mom switched you with him, but Asher is innocent. He knew nothing." Now watch Sterling burst out laughing, his eyes full of pure mockery. "Innocent? Really? Innocent enough to enjoy 20 years of luxury, while our true young master here was literally tossed into a garbage can during a freezing winter by that vicious woman. If someone had not found him, Sterling would have died the very second he was born." His brutal honesty completely silenced Serafina. A tiny flash of guilt actually hit her. Right on cue, Asher started sobbing. "It is all my fault. It is all because of my horrible mother. Brother, if you really hate me so much, just beat me up or yell, but please do not blame Serafina." Suddenly he yanked his hand away from his sister, biting his lip and dramatically rushing towards Sterling. He wore this pathetic face, ready to take the world's punishment. Serafina totally panicked. She frantically chased after him, pulling the boy back right before he hit the floor. Asher, what are you doing? I said. It is not your fault. You and I know this is ridiculous, Sterling laughed. Out loud, literally clapping his hands at this highly entertaining, top-tier performance. Fascinating, are you guys putting on this little tragic play just for me? Seeing Sterling completely stone cold, the tiny spark of guilt that had just flickered in Serafina's chest vanished instantly. She helped Asher up and glared at Sterling. How can you be so ruthless? Asher sincerely apologized, and you just mock him? I am not just mocking him, Sterling sneered. I am mocking all of you. He continued. His evil mother did everything in her absolute power so he could steal 20 beautiful years of my life, and now that I, the true heir, return. Yet you people, my own parents and my own sister, just openly defend this faker right to my face, being stuck with a family like yours makes me feel astronomically unlucky. Serafina's face grew even uglier. At this point, their mother Beatatrix turned to her husband, looking totally helpless against her stubborn real son. She truly had absolutely no answers left, whether logically or emotionally. Beatatrix found it impossible to love him. Then the biological father, Reginald, who had not spoken a single word, finally opened his mouth. Enough, Sterling. Asher's mother was already punished by the law. Now he is totally lonely with nobody to lean on. Your mother and I raised him for 20 years. We really cannot just kick him out. The Vance family is rich. Keeping him around simply means adding one more pair of chopsticks. It will not threaten your true heir status in the future, but Sterling was not buying that garbage. If it is just an extra pair of chopsticks, why not ship him elsewhere? Why strongly insist on keeping him around so every time I see his stupid face, I remember the absolute miserable life I lived? Reginald seriously did not expect that even after he intervened, Sterling would still blatantly refuse. We all know how this goes. Reginald grew heavily disgusted with his real son, compared to the sweet, obedient, and sensible Asher. Sterling was simply way too uneducated. Right at this moment, Asher bit his lip again, tears silently falling. He wore this stubborn expression, crying without a single sound, looking absolutely pathetic. Listen to this. Seeing him constantly push the issue, Serafina finally snapped and exploded. Are you saying you seriously have to kick Asher out today? Is that it? He nodded. Exactly. In this house it is either me or him. Those words made all four of their faces completely drop. Asher, getting all teary-eyed and playing the victim, cried, Dad, Mom, second sister, I do not want to leave. You, Serafina gripped his hand tight. Asher, do not worry, you are not going anywhere. While I am alive, I will never let you leave the Vance family. You will forever be my little brother, the young master of the Vance family. Hearing this, our guy just raised an eyebrow. He stays, so that means you want me to leave? At this moment, the heavy dissatisfaction in Beatatrix's heart had basically peaked. She bluntly spoke her mind. If you want to just return to the Vanson family and live peacefully as a rich young master without a care in the world for the rest of your life, then obediently swallow your pride. Accept the harsh reality that Asher will continue staying in the Vance family as a young master, otherwise we just have to give up on you. Before he could reply, a heartbroken voice echoed from the doorway. It was his eldest aunt, Ara. Are you my sister-in-law, truly this heartless? You do not even want your very own biological son. He froze and turned around, spotting his eldest uncle and his aunt walking right in. Ara looked at him with sheer pity. I really could not put my mind at ease, so I decided to come back and check on things. I did not expect this. Serafina looked at her returning aunt and spoke up totally defensively. Auntie, it is not that we do not want him. He wants to leave. Ara could not hold back. You guys insist on keeping the child of the person who caused him to wander outside for 20 years. How could he not be heartbroken? Hearing this truth, a flash of pure resentment passed through Asher's eyes as he glared over. This old hag talks too much. No wonder she has no kids. Serves her Right, but the second he felt his eldest uncle's cold gaze landing on him, Asher instantly buried his emotions and quickly looked away, feeling his fiercely protective aunt's defense. Our guy's heart warmed. Auntie, do not waste your breath on them. Family like this, I do not even want them. They do not want me, and I do not need them either. Ara's eyes reddened, reaching out to gently rub his cheek. You poor child. How about you just endure things a bit and let Asher stay? He just shook his head. No, if they want me staying, I will never allow the enemy's child to stay here for even one more day. Now watch this. Suddenly, the heavy, booming voice of an elder echoed from the doorway. My precious grandson has finally been brought home. An old man leaning on a cane, supported by the head butler, walked in. He turned toward the doorway. This had to be Grandpa Vance, his actual grandfather. Seeing him, Reginald completely dropped his fake authoritative act, hastily jumping up to support the old man, but Grandpa Vance fiercely swatted his hand away. I do not need a fool like you holding me. You do not even want your own biological son, yet you stubbornly insist on raising your worst enemy's child. I am starting to suspect that boy is actually your illegitimate son. Reginald looked incredibly awkward. Dad, do not speak nonsense. We already did a paternity test. Asher does not have a drop of my blood. We have just lived with him for 20 years, so we naturally have feelings. Absolute idiot, Grandpa Vance furiously scolded. All right, you and I know, if he was just some random stray, that's one thing. But this is the kid whose mother literally stole your actual flesh and blood. I swear your brains are completely fried. Then Grandpa Vance walks straight over and carefully studies our main character's face, just like the head butler reported earlier. Even after 20 rough years outside, his true grandson stands tall and totally confident. Not a single ounce of fear in him. Coming back to this massive, wealthy household, Grandpa pats his shoulder. Precious grandson, I am your real grandpa. Your dad is an absolute fool, but I'm not. I proudly claim you. Sterling just smiles. Grandpa, if you, uncle, and auntie weren't so incredibly sharp and clear-headed here, I'd honestly question how the Vance family ever became such a top-tier powerhouse. With the rest of this household acting so foolish, Reginald, taking that direct insult, practically turns green with rage. Grandpa Vance just laughs heartily. Sterling, rest easy. Today I am getting you absolute justice, even if I have to throw every single one of them out. You're staying right here, hearing this. His sister Serafina looks furious, but the second she opens her mouth, boom. Grandpa cuts her off completely. Shut your mouth, the one who deserves the boot is you. How do you think that swap happened anyway? Wasn't it entirely because of your sheer stupidity? Let's toss you outside to suffer in poverty for a while, then bring you back to face this exact same mess your real brother is dealing with now. I'd love to see if you act this foolish then. These brutal words leave Serafina totally speechless. Grandpa then turns to his second son and daughter-in-law. And what about you two? What is this garbage about 20 years of feelings? I haven't even punished you yet for using the family money to raise a criminal's kid, yet you somehow care more about him than your actual flesh and blood. You seriously want to chase away my grandson to protect a criminal's son? Listen closely. If my grandson walks out, your whole family can get the hell out. Facing Grandpa's absolute ironclad stance, Beatrix wants to argue but freezes. Reginald doesn't dare mutter a single word back. Serafina clenches her fists tight, glaring at Sterling with pure, unhinged hatred. Noticing this, our main character quietly slips a hand behind his back, flipping her the middle finger while silently mouthing, "Idiot." Right then, Beatrix asks, super awkwardly, "But what about Asher?" Grandpa shoots back, "If you want to keep him, fine, but from now on, do not let him touch a single penny of my grandson's wealth." Dropping the hammer, he turns to our main character, Sterling. You stay, ignore your parents, your sister, and their fake kid. From now on, the Vance estate is your home. Suddenly, an epic idea hits Sterling. Grandpa, I don't want them as my parents, since I have Vance family. Blood anyway, what if I adopt uncle and auntie as my parents instead? What do you say? This absolutely stuns the entire room. The whole vibe shifts. From total shock to instant joy. Sterling, what did you just say? He repeats it boldly. Auntie, I want you and uncle as my parents, Reginald. Finally snaps, forgetting how much he actually hates the kid. He screams out, stop messing around right now, rejecting your biological parents just to go and claim your uncle as your father. Where does that leave my dignity? Plus, the eldest brother and his wife are completely childless. The Vance family fortune would absolutely belong to their branch in the future. Now get this, they were terrified that if Sterling actually accepted them as parents, it would completely wreck Grandpa's inheritance plans. Sterling stated clearly that he wasn't messing around at all. Serafina just laughed mockingly. Talking big, isn't he? Just secretly terrified of losing that shiny Vance family young master title. She even plotted this wild scheme to make his aunt and uncle his parents. Sterling fired right back. She was the hilarious one, reluctant to give it up. He was the true young master of the Vance family by default, the real person she described was actually Asher, not the real heir at all yet. Clinging on for dear life and absolutely refusing to leave, hearing Sterling's words, although Asher acted annoyed, he was secretly thrilled inside. To him, this was a win-win situation. First, it totally guaranteed his spot in the Vance family. Second, if Sterling remained the heir, Asher had the perfect excuse to force him into marrying that eldest daughter of the Astor family, the crippled one, Grandpa Vance. Totally didn't expect Sterling to pitch this wild idea. After pausing in surprise, he thought it over. He admitted it wasn't impossible, but they needed to ask his uncle and Anne agreed. Ara was obviously 100% on board. She always dreamed of having a child of her own. Alaric, seeing his wife's glowing face, already made up his mind to say yes, but Beatrix was the first to scream an objection. Sterling was her biological son, whom she carried for 10 long months. How could they let him call his aunt and uncle his real parents? Asher, who had literally just breathed a sigh of relief about staying, heard Beatrix's words, and a sudden flash of total panic crossed his face, but he quickly regained his composure. He realized that even though his adopted mother loved him, he still wasn't her actual biological son. By blood, a massive hidden danger for his future, Sterling just mocked them. Why not? Asher has zero blood relation to them either. Yet, she still completely protected him, raised him, and let him call her mom. Beatrix choked on her own hypocritical words. It took her forever to stutter a reply. That was different. Asher lived with them for 20 years. They had a bond. Now watch what Sterling does. He stared at Ara. Auntie, are you and uncle willing to be my parents? Ara trembled, looking straight at her husband for his final opinion. Alaric nodded warmly. Ara, I know you've always wanted a child. Now we finally have our very own son. Seeing her husband agree, Ara immediately hugged Sterling tight, completely overwhelmed with pure joy. My good boy will be your mother from now on. You are my precious son. Beatrix absolutely panicked. Sister-in-law, how can you do this? She could despise her actual biological son, but she couldn't stomach the thought of him calling another woman his mom. Sterling naturally called right out, Mom. Hearing this, Ara's heart just swelled with pure happiness, but to Beatrix, it sounded incredibly grating. Sterling, stop throwing a massive tantrum. I am your real mother. Sterling pulled out of Ara's embrace and stared coldly right at Beatrix. Second aunt, do not speak out of turn. Your son is Asher. Beatrix's eyes went wide in utter disbelief. I am your mother, not your second aunt. She tried to step forward and drag Sterling back, but Grandpa Vance struck his heavy cane against the floor. Enough, it is too late for regrets now. I am making the final call today. From now on, my precious grandson will be officially registered under my eldest son and daughter-in-law's names. You brought this upon yourselves, Grandpa declared. By refusing to accept your own flesh and blood, Beatatrix felt incredibly wronged. She honestly never expected her biological son to be so cold and unyielding. Just because of some harsh words, he seriously turned right around and called her sister-in-law mom to prove his determination. To seal the deal, our MC took his ID card and registration book from his canvas bag, handing them straight over to Grandpa. Sorry to trouble you, Grandpa. Please help me transfer my exact household registration to Uncle and Auntie's family right away. Grandpa Vance took the documents, nodding in agreement. Walking back along the stone path, Aunt Ella was literally buzzing with excitement. Her mind was completely, totally occupied by the wild fact that she was actually a mother now. Alaric saw his wife so excited she almost tripped. He caught her, eyes just full of absolute affection. Careful now, do not let Sterling laugh at us. She snapped to attention and calmed herself, though she still looked at Sterling nervously. Sterling, there is nobody else here. Tell us the honest truth. You saying you want us as parents, you weren't just doing this out of pure spite, right? Sterling truly did not expect his aunt to be so nervous. His heart grew even more resolute. Of course not. Out of spite, I genuinely like you both. You two are my parents now. Alab breathed a massive sigh of pure relief, smiling brightly. Sterling, from this moment on, you are our true son. Nobody is taking you away from us. Following them back to the East Villa, she grabbed his hand eagerly. Sterling, come, let Mom show you your new room. My room? Sterling was completely surprised. How did you set it up so fast? Alaric smiled and explained, your mother always wanted a son, so a room was prepared right here in this house a long time ago. Hearing this, our guy felt both amused and incredibly touched. Warmth totally surged in his chest. Honestly, you and I can call this a beautiful mutual rescue. Sterling followed them up to the third floor, gently pushing the door open. He was instantly stunned by the crazy sight before him. This room was entirely decked out in peak teenage boy style, heavily packed with sci-fi themes and epic mecha models. Is this style too sci-fi though? It might not quite fit your current age, Alan noted. If you hate it, Mom will have people clear it out tomorrow and redecorate however you want. Sterling simply shook his head. No need, just leave it exactly like this. It is just a place to sleep anyway. No big deal. Alas smiled with pure satisfaction. You rest here for a bit. Mom will tell someone to bring your luggage up. After they left, Sterling closed the door and laid down on that intensely sci-fi bed. His phone suddenly buzzed. He rolled over, pulling it out to check. It was actually a text from his terrible ex-girlfriend, Priscilla. It was a message attached right to a photo of a massive luxury mansion. She wrote, Sterling, see this place? This is my new home. I am the true eldest lady of the wealthy Priscilla family living in this huge mansion. She bragged, if you regret everything and want to get back together, I might reluctantly agree. Our MC replied with a deadpan idiot, and he promptly dragged Priscilla right into his glorious block list. You and I love to see that. Meanwhile, Beatatrix sat heavily on her sofa, fuming with pure anger. Big brother and sister-in-law really do not respect us at all. They actually want to steal our own biological son. Reginald sat right nearby, his voice super dark. No matter what, we absolutely cannot let our son accept the uncle as a father. But Serafina totally brushed it off. He is absolute garbage anyway. If the aunt and uncle want him, let them take him. Just treat the whole thing like recycling trash. It definitely saves us the headache of bringing him home to annoy everyone. I mean, did you see his attitude today? Flexing that Vance family bloodline to act all superior with us. Honestly, if we actually took the guy in, who knows what he would do? Reginald glanced at Serafina and Asher next to him. Serafina, Asher, you saw your grandpa's mood today, he said. Originally, all the Vance family wealth would eventually fall straight to you two, but if our real son accepts the aunt and uncle as his parents, the future split of this family's massive fortune might not be so simple. That is exactly why your mother and I fought against him joining them. It is totally not because we lack love for him. Asher nodded. Dad, I get it. Serafina remained totally unfazed. How could their grandpa possibly hand any real assets to him? Beatatrix knew her daughter deeply valued her precious little Brother, so she pushed further. Even without the money, you need to think about saving Asher from marrying the eldest lady of the Astor family. Do you really want Asher stuck with a crippled wife? Hearing that harsh truth, Serafina bit her lip and stayed quiet. Beatatrix pressed on. Mom is right, even if you have to fake it, you must put on an act for your so-called biological brother. Make him actually accept you as his real sister. Then we force him to take Asher's place, marrying the Astor family heiress, totally fulfilling the arranged marriage between the two powerful families. Reginald agreed. Exactly. Serafina stayed quiet for a long second, then replied, Dad, Mom, I know what to do. Now watch this. Asher headed to his room, pacing straight to the window, and dialed a number. The second they answered, his normally weak, pitiful eyes turned absolutely deadly. Is it done? Where is the video I paid for? The voice on the line sounded totally defeated. Not yet. I have not been able to reach the target since last night. Asher lost it. What kind of completely useless trash did you hire? The other guy panicked. Look, I never expected him to be this pathetic either. I nearly got kicked right out of the Vance family today. If I get exposed, do not even dream of seeing a single penny from me. Asher forced himself calm, his voice dropping. It seems the guy you hired hit a wall. Go lay low for a bit. Do not let any investigation trace back to me. Hanging up, Asher slammed his phone onto the mattress in rage. Trash cannot even handle one simple job. Meanwhile, Aura spotted Asher creeping around, lingering right outside her door. He looked hesitant, gripping a few expensive designer shopping bags. She was about to check it out, but Eric quickly held her back. Let me handle this. I have not forgotten how he stared at you earlier. Eric stepped into the hall. Asher, what are you doing lurking outside of my house? Asher stuttered hard. Uncle, I realized Brother Sterling just returned to the Vance family. I got worried he had no clothes to wear, so I actually brought him some of my brand new unworn outfits. Saying that, he nervously lifted the bags up. Uncle, can I come inside? Alaric studied him for a second, seeing nothing completely suspicious. He gave a nod. Sure, come in. Thanks, Uncle. Is Brother Sterling's room, third floor, middle room. Ara quietly watched Asher's someone retreats downstairs, looking worried. Sterling doesn't like him. Maybe I should go up and check on things. Eric just waves it off. Don't panic, let Sterling handle this himself. The kid is sharp, he's got this. Meanwhile, upstairs, the door swings open. Asher immediately shoves some fancy clothing bags at Sterling. Brother, I figured you wouldn't have anything decent to wear, since you literally just got back, so I grabbed some brand new clothes for you. Sterling just glares at the bags, sneering. You know I don't accept you, right? So don't even bother with this fake nice guy act. Asher plays the innocent victim. Sterling, I genuinely just want us to get along. Why do you always have to fight me? It's going to ruin us both. Sterling gives a cold smirk. Ruin who? You're the only one losing here. You realize that, right? Asher's mask cracks completely, baffled by Sterling's insane confidence. Look, Sterling, I really don't want to clash, and honestly, I don't even care about fighting you, but what makes you think you can win? Since childhood, do you have any idea how much money Mom and Dad dumped into me? Even the absolute top-tier heirs in Kim City can't beat me, let alone some random guy raised out in the countryside. Asher looks at Sterling with absolute pity. Man, if I were you, I'd just quietly accept our parents and live the rest of your life in total comfort, coasting on that sweet Vance family title. Why throw away your whole future over some petty, useless anger? Sterling just sighs out of sheer boredom. Well, guess the elite kids in Kim City are straight trash. You can't even beat them. Asher is stunned into silence. His eyes flash with pure disgust. Sterling, your ego is completely out of control. Fine then, I'll just wait and see. I'll watch how you plan to boot me from the Vance family and steal the heir position. Dropping the act, Asher hangs the expensive bags right on the door handle and turns to walk away, but he barely takes 5 steps before hearing a crash. Whipping around, he watches the bags Sterling just chucked scattering entirely across The floor, Asher puts his fake sad face back on. Even if you hate me, don't trash my kindness like that. After all, out in the dirt. You've obviously never worn high-end luxury stuff like this, right? At that, Sterling literally stomps his shoe onto the clothes. Yeah, what's so amazing about this? I wouldn't even use this garbage as a floor rag. Tossing the insult, Sterling turns to walk away, but right then, Asher drops his voice into a whisper just for him. Hey Sterling, do you seriously think our parents brought you back to the Vance family if it wasn't for me? Sterling stops cold and turns around, mask off. Asher looks incredibly smug now. Wanna know the real reason they found you? Sterling plays along. Do tell, because I refused to marry the oldest daughter of the Astor family. Mom and Dad just couldn't stomach the thought of my future getting ruined. So they dragged their real son out of the mud to replace me. Be honest. Isn't your entire existence just pathetic? He caps it off with this overly dramatic, exaggerated sigh. Sterling just laughs. Wow, what a massive steal. Isn't the Astor family a top tier mega-rich powerhouse? Marrying their oldest daughter sounds like a total jackpot that anyone would literally kill for. Seeing that Sterling isn't even slightly fazed by the insult. Watch this. Asher feels like he just punched a brick wall. Zero reaction. It makes him insanely frustrated, but he just assumes Sterling is faking it. You seriously don't know. You and I are witnessing peak drama here. The Astor family's eldest lady is ruined. Sterling stepped closer, smiling calmly. So what if she's crippled? He could cure her legs easily. As for Asher, he despised her condition and backed out of the marriage completely. But later, when her legs are healed, he better not dare regret it. Then Sterling abruptly changed his tone. Oh, by the way, that escaped convict last night. Asher definitely bought him off, didn't he? Hearing the word convict, Asher's face instantly lost all its color, but he still played dumb. What convict? Sterling shook his head, completely amused. Just be careful out there. That deadly little gift from last night. Sterling would slowly return it to him. After dropping that threat, Sterling just whistled and casually strolled right downstairs. Asher clenched his fists tightly, glaring daggers at Sterling's arrogant back, his eyes growing even more intensely malicious. After a tense moment, he finally turned, picked up the trampled clothes off the floor, and dragged himself downstairs. Right at this exact moment, his mom was holding a tablet. She looked up, calling him. Sterling, come take a look at these designs. Which ones do you like? Pick a few tonight and Mom will have someone deliver them for you to wear temporarily. Tomorrow, when we are totally free, Mom will take you real shopping. Okay, thanks, Mom. Sterling walked over, acting a little spoiled. Asher, walking right behind him, saw this happy scene, gripped his bags of clothes tightly and forced a fake smile. Uncle, Auntie, Brother Sterling, I'll be heading back now. Alaric gave a brief grunt. Mom looked up, nodded slightly, and said nothing. Sterling turned around, flashing a radiant smile. I highly advise you not to come parading in front of me again just to humiliate yourself. Asher forced an awkward smile and finally left the East Villa. Once he was gone, Alara asked, what did he say to you? Sterling just looked down at the clothing designs on the tablet and replied, just some cheap provocations, saying that second uncle and second aunt only brought me back so I could take his place and marry the eldest lady of the Astor family, the crippled one. Alara absolutely froze, locking eyes with her husband. Her normally gentle eyes were now blazing with intense anger. So, second brother and his wife actually had this toxic intention. They've gone way too far. Alaric wrapped an arm around his wife's shoulders, comforting her so gently. Don't worry, Sterling is our real son. Now, we will absolutely never agree to let him take that fake adopted son's place and marry the Astor family's eldest lady. But Sterling completely shocked them both by dropping this bomb. Dad, Mom, I am entirely willing to marry the eldest lady of the Astor family. Both of them were completely stunned. Alara quickly snapped out of it and quickly explained, Sterling, you just got back home, so you really don't know the situation with the Astor family. Their eldest lady got into a massive accident Just last month, her legs are totally crippled and she can't stand anymore. But Sterling just smiled, looking completely unbothered. I know, but it's fine. I am highly skilled in medicine. I can easily heal her legs. Now watch this pivot. Over at West Villa, Beatatrix looked at the shopping bags Asher brought back and instantly guessed exactly what happened. Her eyes flashed with intense annoyance. Asher, he didn't even accept your clothes. Asher looked incredibly hurt, forcing a bitter little smile. Yeah, he still refuses to accept me. Serafina was highly displeased. That guy truly doesn't know what is good for him. Asher, from now on, you never need to lower yourself to try and please him. He's absolutely not worth it. Asher played the perfect victim. I just don't want everything falling on your shoulders, making you too stressed out, such a snake. The annoyance on Serafina's face instantly dissolved into pure, doting affection. What silly things are you saying? Protecting my little brother is only natural. Don't do these unnecessary things anymore. Mom, Dad, and I are determined to keep you. You don't need to read his moods. Beatatrix was also annoyed. That fake guy really throws away respect when it's handed right to him. The next morning, trying to get familiar with the massive Vance estate, Sterling walked around the grounds completely alone. Eventually, he stopped outside a large building. Just then, he spotted Asher walking out, wearing a crisp white suit and holding a foreign language book, looking like the ultimate preppy intellectual boy. Seeing Sterling, Asher completely froze. For a second, then, a mocking smile crept up. He quickly approached and enthusiastically grabbed his hand. Brother Sterling, good morning. Did you sleep well last night? Are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere? After all, the Vance family estate isn't exactly quiet like the countryside. Staring at this incredibly fake act, Sterling let out a cold laugh. Are you secretly mocking me for being from the country, assuming I cannot handle this so-called wealthy place of yours? Asher hurriedly waved his hands around, playing the innocent victim. Brother Sterling, you misunderstood my intentions. I absolutely wasn't mocking you. I was just worried. But Sterling wasn't buying the act. Stop playing innocent. You think I don't know what is going through your head? Your mother is currently sitting in prison, yet you still have the nerve to stay right here. Truly an eye-opener. Listen, I am the real young master of the Vance family. Why would I ever sleep poorly like you? Saying that, Sterling aggressively yanked his hand right out of Asher's grip. The fake smile instantly stiffened. Seeing that no one else was around, Asher dropped the act altogether. Sterling, a country bumpkin like you turning into a phoenix should be thanking the heavens and earth. Why do you insist on fighting me? He continued, trying to provoke the real heir. Sterling, know what this building is? Without waiting for Sterling to answer, he sneered. It's the exact place where the true young masters and ladies of the Vance family study. Since I was little, I've learned all sorts of talents right here, taught by elite private tutors. Hired for top dollar. I wonder what talents you actually have. Sterling, probably absolutely nothing, right? Too bad you are already this old. It's too late to learn anything now, but that's fine. You know how to plant vegetables, farm, wash dishes, and cook. I don't know any of those peasant chores, so I'll ask for your guidance. Watch closely. Sterling raised his hand and delivered a crisp, devastating slap straight across Asher's smug face. The guy didn't even have time to react, knocked straight to the ground. He lay sprawled on the floor, glaring up at Sterling with sheer resentment, ready to scream. But at that exact moment, Asher spotted Serafina hurriedly walking over from a distance. He immediately covered his stinging cheek, his eyes turning bright red, playing the perfectly wronged and pitiful victim. Serafina saw this scene and stormed over furiously, quickly dropping to her knees to support him. Asher. What happened? Asher covered his face, fully playing the victim. I just asked Brother Sterling if he wanted to learn music, chess, calligraphy, or even painting. If he wanted to, I could easily teach him. I don't know why Brother Sterling suddenly slapped me. Sterling waved his hand, totally unbothered, and said casually, you don't know because we're jumping in. You're too despicable. Serafina glared at Sterling. You dare hit Asher, growing up. Asher has never been bullied by anyone. You've repeatedly used harsh words to attack Asher, and now you actually dare to lay your hands on him. Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Hearing this threat, the corners of Asher's mouth twitched up. Slightly, Reginald wasn't wrong. Growing up, whoever dared to bully him, Serafina would beat them half to death, even if they were girls. But unfortunately, before Serafina could even get close, Sterling delivered a brutal kick to her knee. Not only did she miss him completely, but she tumbled forward, both hands slamming onto the floor, kneeling right in front of Sterling. Before she could react, he stepped hard onto the hand she was using to support herself on the ground and let out a massive yawn. So annoying. Second sister, are you really this weak? Asher didn't expect Sterling to actually lay a hand on Serafina. He stared at him in pure shock. Brother Sterling, you resent me. You hit me, fine, but why did you attack second sister? Sterling just shrugged. She made the first move. I was just acting in self-defense. Sterling, you uneducated country bumpkin, let go right now or I'll chop your hand off, Serafina screamed, but Sterling just stepped down even harder. This forced her to groan in absolute agony, completely unable to curse anymore. After making his point, Sterling stepped back. Asher hurriedly knelt down, grabbed Serafina's crushed hand and asked worriedly, second sister, with Asher's fake support. Serafina tried to stand up, but that seemingly light kick to her knee was extremely painful. Coupled with her throbbing, trampled hand, she simply lacked the strength to stand. Halfway up, she just collapsed back to her knees. Again, Sterling laughed out loud. Serafina, your knees aren't as hard as your mouth. Love kneeling that much. Stick with me here. Serafina looked up, her eyes full of total humiliation. Very well, Sterling, from now on don't you dare ever call me sister. Sterling laughed like he just heard the joke of the century. Accept you as a sister, I'd rather adopt a dog. Saying that, he turned and walked away. Why is Lady Serafina kneeling there? I don't know, and I definitely don't dare ask. The whispers of the passing servants echoed through the hall, making Serafina feel the ultimate humiliation. She screamed right at them. What are you looking at? Are you idiots? Hurry up and help me up. The servants jumped in fright and rushed over to help her into the house. Asher carefully checked her knee. Second sister, your knee is totally bruised and swollen. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. You ended up like this. Serafina quickly comforted him. Asher, it has nothing to do with you. Sterling is just a petty person. He's jealous, so he can't tolerate you. She frowned, speaking resolutely. Asher, I've thought it through. The only way to stop you from being bullied is to make the whole family, especially Grandpa, despise Sterling. Only then will he not be able to hurt you anymore. Asher was about to say something, but Serafina's eyes were full of determination. Don't try to persuade me. I've made up my mind. Who told him he couldn't tolerate you? A twisted flash of triumph gleamed in Asher's eyes. Excellent. Now he didn't even need to lift a finger. Sterling and Serafina were completely at each other's throats. Meanwhile, returning home, Ara took Sterling shopping for clothes. When they got back, the head butler was waiting in the living room, handing over the household registration book. Now we watch Sterling's transfer procedures unfold. The move to Ara's household was finally done. Her eyes lit up, but before she could even celebrate, a shrill woman's voice pierced straight through the open doorway. Sterling, you ungrateful wretch, the furious woman screamed, about bringing him into the family. You refused to acknowledge us, and now you actually dare strike your own blood. Beatatrix and Reginald aggressively marched in, with Serafina and Asher trailing close behind. Serafina was limping hard, one hand heavily bandaged. Beatatrix screamed for absolute justice today. Beatatrix's eyes were totally red, playing the ultimate victim for her precious daughter. Alaric and Ara just sighed, looking completely exhausted by this sudden family drama. They asked what was happening and why Grandpa was dragged into this ridiculous mess. Entering the hall, Beatatrix yelled loudly, "Stick with me." Her audacity is absolutely mind-blowing. Do you have any idea what a massive disaster Sterling caused today? She shrieked. Seeing Serafina's deadly glare, Sterling just sneered right back at his so-called second aunt. What are you screaming in my house for? Tell me, what disaster did I cause? Every single time he called her second aunt, Beatatrix practically ground her teeth into dust. She stepped right up, pointing a shaky finger. Sterling, your little tantrums have limits. You actually dare to strike your own sister. I think you're getting way too arrogant. Relying on your title as the Vance family's young master, Grandpa needs to teach you. Ara immediately grabbed Sterling's hand, stepping in to pull him safely behind her back. The situation isn't clear yet. Don't scare Sterling, Alaric warned with a heavy frown. Speak clearly. I refuse to believe Sterling would just attack someone for literally no. Why wouldn't he? Beatatrix spat back furiously, immediately pointing a dramatic finger at Asher. Just look at his face. Serafina says Sterling beat them both up this morning. Ara turned to look at our MC. Sterling, she asked softly, what really happened? Her voice was incredibly gentle, completely blame-free, so Sterling just admitted it totally outright. Yeah, I hit Asher's face and Serafina's knee, he confessed, but they totally deserved it. Beatatrix shot him a lethal glare. What absolute nonsense. How did they deserve that? What right do you have? Sterling completely ignored her, locking eyes with Grandpa instead. Grandpa, I know violence is wrong, but Asher was throwing some serious insults at me. I am your actual biological grandson. I am the true young master of this family. Yet this adopted kid dares to humiliate me. Tell me, Grandpa, did he deserve it? As for Serafina, she actually tried to attack me first, so yeah, I kicked her. Purely self-defense. Beatatrix wasn't having it. She immediately fired right back at him. You are absolutely lying. We've lived with Asher for 20 years. We know his character. You're just framing him. Serafina only fought back because you attacked Asher out of nowhere. Sterling raised an eyebrow. Is that so? Oh, we are about to see payback. Asher, do you actually dare say you didn't insult me? Asher, already tearing up, violently shook his head. I really didn't insult Brother Sterling. This morning I saw him standing in front of the one-star building. I thought he just wanted to learn some music, chess, or painting, so I went to say hello. Who knew that Brother Sterling would think I was looking down on him? He just slapped me without a word. I swear to the heavens, I had zero intention of ever humiliating Brother Sterling. Beatatrix dramatically caressed Asher's face, acting like her heart was entirely shattered into pieces. My sweet boy, don't cry. How could Mom not believe you? You've been so obedient. I raised you myself. How could you possibly be as terrible as Sterling is claiming? Then she spun around, glaring. Did you hear that? I told you so. Sterling just got back from the sticks. He's impossible to teach. Big brother, sister-in-law, you too adopted him. Why on earth didn't you discipline him? So he wouldn't cause a massive disaster on day one, having ranted enough. Beatatrix spun around to whine to Grandpa Vance. Dad, I brought you here for justice. You heard it all. No matter what, his new parents need to give us a proper explanation. Serafina and Asher can't just get beaten up for absolutely no reason. Grandpa Vance, his face was stone cold. What do you want? Beatatrix patted Serafina's shoulder. Go ahead, kids. Tell everyone exactly how you want to settle this mess. Grandpa will get you justice today. Asher looked at Sterling with fake teary eyes, whispering, I just want Brother Sterling to apologize to me. That's it. Serafina chimed in, since he's a Vance. I won't demand an eye for an eye. I just want him to apologize to poor Asher and sign a formal agreement letting Asher stay in the Vance family forever. Grandpa, that's a simple request, right? Sterling laughed coldly. Simple, forcing me to apologize to that snake is a massive insult. Serafina, you really know exactly how to make me sick. Then Sterling looked right at Grandpa. Grandpa, my household registration is already transferred to my parents, so I really don't want second uncle and aunt using our blood ties to coerce me in the future. I need you to be my witness here. Once this whole hitting incident is settled, I want an agreement to permanently cut ties with them. Serafina just scoffed at him, permanently cutting ties. Do you think that's a threat? Not having a country bumpkin brother is something I actually prayed for. Seeing her kids get completely wrecked by Sterling, Beatatrix finally decided to drop the fake polite act over the family assets. Sterling, do you honestly want to sign a severing ties agreement? Once you sign, regretting it later will be completely useless. Only a dog would regret it, Sterling snapped, glaring at Asher. You want to know why I hit them? Just watch this. Asher completely froze. Listen to what? He panicked hard. Could it be? No, impossible. Under Asher's pale, terrified gaze, Sterling whipped out his phone and played an audio recording. Sterling, why are you still so utterly clueless? Mom and Dad only brought you back to take my place. You're just bait to marry the Astor family's eldest lady, a bumpkin like you turning into a phoenix. You should be thanking the heavens, so why do you insist on crossing me? You even went and made uncle and auntie your official parents. Now you're stuck in the middle looking like a total idiot. Embarrassing. Right? Do you seriously think they actually like you enough to just make you their son? It's literally just because you carry the Vance family bloodline. Maybe in the future, if Grandpa feels generous, you might inherit a tiny piece of the assets. Sterling, what actual talents do you even have? Absolutely nothing, right? It's a shame you're already this old. Too late to learn anything now. But hey, you know how to plant vegetables, farm, wash clothes, and cook. I don't know any of those peasant things, so I might need your expert guidance. The more Grandpa Vance listened, the darker his expression became. Sterling knew Asher's cheap insults were secondary. The real kicker was him mentioning the family assets. Trust me, to Grandpa Vance, who held absolute tyrannical power over this family, anyone plotting for his money before he was even dead. That was like a prince plotting treason while the emperor was still alive. Huge taboo. So watch this. Sterling deliberately turned up his phone volume right when Asher said those exact words. Asher froze, his mind racing to figure out a way to save his innocent act. Serafina and Beatatrix panicked too. They were thinking, oh crap, why did the adopted kid mention the family assets, saying it is bad enough but getting recorded for Grandpa too? Here, Grandpa Vance's face turned dark as a storm cloud. Asher, you are just an adopted son here. I am not even dead yet, and you are out here already scheming over how my wealth gets divided. Asher's fake tears immediately started falling as he violently shook his head. Grandpa, it's not like that. Don't call me Grandpa. The old man slammed his cane hard against the floor. That recording is crystal clear. Am I deaf? Is that not your voice? Asher totally panicked. It is my voice, but it wasn't like that. It was Brother Sterling who kept insulting me. I couldn't handle it anymore, so I snapped and said those things. Serafina couldn't even believe it. Were those nasty words in the recording actually spoken by sweet little Asher? But she quickly made up an excuse. Sterling must have provoked Asher, pushing him over the edge and forcing him to fight back with those ugly words. She glared right at Sterling, eyes literally shooting fire. Asher is right. Who knows what sick things you said to him first to make him bite back like that? Grandpa Vance just snorted coldly. Serafina, the hard evidence is right in front of you, yet you are still this foolish and completely blind to right from wrong. Sterling is right. You need to be thrown out and beaten to fix that hollow brain of yours. Sterling pocketed his phone and reminded the old man, Grandpa, him insulting me is whatever, but he also claimed my parents only brought me back for the money. I bet Asher learned all of that straight from second uncle and second aunt. Right. Hearing this, Reginald's sharp, freezing eyes instantly locked onto Sterling's second uncle. Don't glare at me like that. I'm scared. He ducked behind Ara. She hugged him tightly, her voice completely strict and serious. Look, the matter is perfectly clear. Your adopted son provoked Sterling first, and he ended up saying so many insane things. Plus, this adopted son of yours claimed you only brought Sterling back so he could take his place and marry the oldest daughter of the Astor family. Is this true? Ara originally didn't want to expose this messy secret right before Grandpa Vance, but they were already here, even if Sterling actually agreed to the marriage. He absolutely wasn't going to suffer this huge disadvantage in silence as Grandpa Vance's face turned completely dark. Is this true, Beatatrix? Didn't even dare to breathe. Reginald quickly denied it. It's not like that, we only just discovered Sterling is our real biological son. How on earth could we have planned in advance to make him replace Asher and Mary, the eldest lady of the Astor family? Asher just gritted his teeth and took the blame. It's because I wanted to stay here, but Brother Sterling wouldn't accept it. He kept trying to kick me out. I was so desperate that I purposely said those things. Hearing this excuse, Grandpa Vance glared intensely at Reginald and Beatatrix. You two are the ones who need to properly educate your adopted son. Next time there's a pathetic little argument like this, and you haven't even sorted out who is wrong, do not call me here to intervene. Reginald just nodded. Yes, I will go back and discipline Asher strictly. Beatatrix felt incredibly wronged here. She never expected this biological son to be sneaky. Right, I actually managed to record their whole act. I looked right at Grandpa Vance. Grandpa, we cannot just let this slide. Second uncle and second aunt barged into my house with their thugs. I was totally terrified. Grandpa Vance slammed his cane. All four of you, apologize to Sterling right now. Serafina instantly whined, looking totally annoyed. Grandpa, even if we started it, he shouldn't have hit us. What gives him the right to demand an apology? I am not doing it. Grandpa Vance raised his cane, ready to smack her. You dare talk back to me, he roared. Beatatrix frantically jumped in. Serafina, stop making your grandpa mad. Apologize to Sterling now. I crossed my arms, enjoying the show. Yeah, hurry up, you two, uncle and aunt. Asher played the victim first, looking utterly pathetic. Brother Sterling, I apologize. Beatatrix chimed in next. Sterling, I am sorry for misunderstanding. Reginald muttered a stiff, totally forced apology. Serafina just looked away, spitting out her bitter sorry. I played the bigger person. Since you apologized, I will let this slide, but next up, we are signing the paperwork to sever ties, cutting off all relations completely, Reginald asked coldly. Have you actually thought this through? Once signed, your mother and I are completely washing our hands of you. I just laughed. Are you joking? You never cared about me for the past 20 years anyway, Alaric firmly interrupted. Second brother, save your breath. Ara and I will take excellent care of Sterling from now on. Grandpa Vance saw I was dead serious and just sighed. Sterling, that severance agreement, I will have my head butler deliver it directly tomorrow morning. With that settled, the butler gently helped Grandpa out of the villa. I bowed respectfully as he walked away. Thank you, Grandpa. Please take care. Then I spun around to face my aunt and uncle, grinning. Grandpa already left. Why are you all still standing around in my house? Honestly, haven't you been humiliated enough today? Beatatrix lost it. Sterling, you ungrateful brat, always siding with outsiders. Serafina scoffed. Mom, do not even bother with him. Let us leave. She dragged Asher away, shooting me a final glare. Sterling, I hope you do not regret this later. Do not come crawling back begging for forgiveness. Reginald had planned to use this whole beaten children drama to completely destroy my reputation with Grandpa, but seeing it fail, he just gave me a cold stare. I vastly overestimated you. He walked out. Disgusted, Beatatrix was shaking with rage. My daughter is right. You will regret this forever. With that threat, she stormed out of the villa. Meanwhile, Asher was quietly scheming how to explain away the audio recording. Serafina quickly comforted him. Asher, stop worrying. We know you. If Sterling had not pushed you so hard, you never would have done that. Asher looked so pitiful. I just thought, even if Brother Sterling hated me, I could accept it, but he just keeps crushing my kind intentions. I honestly broke down today. I only wanted to make sure that Mom, Dad, and Brother Sterling did not tear the family apart over me. Beatatrix gazed at him like he was an angel. What happened years ago is not your fault at all. Your biological mother did it for you. She is paying The ultimate price in prison now, he gently probed her. Mom, you do not blame me, right? Beatatrix wiped her tears. Asher, you are my precious son, so easily manipulated. Beatatrix obsessed over how perfectly she had raised her adopted son. How could she bear tossing him aside for her biological child she felt she had done enough for? Her real son, if Sterling was smart, he should have quietly accepted his place and smoothly returned. Meanwhile, Reginald warned Asher, listen, this time you absolutely shouldn't have let Sterling find your weakness. You must be way more careful in the future. Asher nodded, playing the victim. I never expected him to scheme against me. I won't let it happen again, but Beatatrix looked worried. Now I'm just terrified that after this massive fight, Sterling won't be willing to marry the Astor family's eldest lady. Asher bit his lip. Mom, if he refuses, let me marry her instead. Maybe that sacrifice will finally calm my brother Sterling's burning anger. Serafina immediately objected. No way, you are not marrying a. Reginald strongly disagreed too. Asher, you are far too outstanding. You deserve someone way better. I've basically lost my real son. If my adopted one doesn't maximize his true value, we lose everything, Beatatrix stated firmly. Don't worry, I will handle this substitute marriage. I absolutely refuse to let you throw your life away on the Astor family's eldest daughter. Hearing this, Asher breathed a massive sigh of relief. Once they left, Sterling's new guardians comforted him. We truly want you as our son. We don't care about the Vance family assets. Sterling smiled warmly. Mom, I know. His new mother shook her head. I never expected Asher to be so venomous. I still can't believe that recording. Alaric, however, wasn't surprised in the slightest. You can never truly know someone's heart. Thankfully, this mess wasn't a total disaster, but we must stay on guard against the second brother's family in the future. Sterling nodded calmly. He was already thinking 2 steps ahead, since returning. He knew Asher wouldn't just sit quietly. Sterling came entirely prepared. When the fake son provoked him, dropping that recording was effortless. Honestly, our guy found Asher ridiculously careless, but after taking this hit, his rival would definitely be more cautious. Which only makes this game more fun. Sterling was the Vance family's true heir. He planned to enjoy this title completely, with plenty of time to play games with Asher. At noon the next day, right before Grandpa Vance officially announced the severed ties agreement, Beatatrix came looking for Sterling all alone. He was chilling on a hammock in the front yard, a banana leaf blocking the sun. Hearing her step, Sterling spoke lazily. Where is that annoying dog barking coming from? Weird, we don't own any dogs, so why is there barking here every single day? Beatatrix knew he was mocking her. She looked furious but somehow swallowed her pride. Sterling, your mother brought you a gift, see if you like it. He finally glanced at her peace offering, a shiny bank card. There is 10 million inside, she explained. Consider it a token of appreciation from your father and me. You suffered out there. Let this 10 million be compensation for the last 20 years. She tried shoving the card into his hand. Sterling held it up, looking amused. Wow, 10 million. Now here is where you and I laugh. That 10 million, it barely covers a single rare medicinal herb Sterling secretly grows. And he owns an entire mountain of them. This cash was practically pocket change. He totally faked being teary-eyed, making Beatatrix think he was actually moved. I knew that. Deep down you still wanted us. We share blood. Sterling dropped the card, staring at her with pure disgust. Second aunt, you people are seriously broke, yet you have the nerve to show your faces. Beatrix froze, absolutely enraged. Sterling's anger flared. You call us broke. Here is 10 million. You could never earn this. Selling herbs your entire life. Now I am handing you 10 million and you dare turn up your nose at it. Sterling sneered, throwing the card straight at her face. I do not give a damn about 10 million. Are you out of your mind? Startled, she stumbled backward. You and I know he is not playing around. After steadying herself, she screamed, Sterling, how dare you treat your biological mother like this? Sterling leaped from the hammock, grabbing a massive banana Leaf fanning it right at her face. Keep talking nonsense and next time I will. Throw bird poop at your face, believe it. She panicked, dodging wildly. Finally, Sterling chucked the banana leaf straight into her face. Shocked, she stepped onto the completely crushed leaf, desperately trying to regain composure. Sterling, there is a limit to this anger. Toward us, you do not even want 10 million. Are you being too greedy? 10 million? You could never earn that selling herbs forever. Do you still not know? When enough is enough, Sterling laughed coldly. I do not give a crap about 10 million. Even if you handed over the entire Vance family fortune, I still would never forgive. You, Beatrix's eyes visibly shifted, totally surprised that he actually knew so much. Sterling stared at her coldly. Do not think I am clueless. You actually knew I was your biological son early on, but because you despised me, you just let me live outside like trash. Since you treated me poorly, do not blame me for not holding back. Beatrix was furious, her eyes burning with resentment. She ran over to pick up a solid stick by the flower bed, marching right up and raising it to hit him. As the stick fell, Sterling grabbed it. He twisted hard, snatching it from her grip and snapped it in half, tossing it aside like a used toothpick. Let me tell you, I did not come back this time to acknowledge you. I came back to make sure your lives become a living hell. You and I must pay attention here. He originally wanted the Vance fortune, but now I see that aside from your little group, everyone else in this family is pretty decent, so I have decided that destroying just your branch of the family will be enough. Beatrix trembled with rage while Sterling continued coldly. Your eldest son, Orion Vance, manages Starlight Entertainment. Recently, he signed a few potential stars and brought in decent profit, but compared to the established entertainment companies in Kim City, he is still lagging far behind. As for Serafina doing music, she just released a massive hit song that is blowing up everywhere. But if a massive scandal breaks out right now, I wonder if she could turn the tide. Sterling smiled maliciously. Second aunt, what do you think would happen if I completely ruined their careers? She pointed at him, trembling violently. What exactly do you want? Sterling just smiled. I just want to ruin your daughter's career. Is that really so hard for you to accept? So why was it perfectly fine for Asher to steal 20 years of my life, and you find that entirely forgivable? Beatrix froze. The question left her completely speechless. Why else? Sterling, think about it. I raised Asher for 20 years, even if he is not my biological son, so what? Even if he were a dog, I would still have deep feelings for him, let alone the fact that Asher is a living, breathing person. Beatrix was incredibly agitated, as if desperately trying to convince herself. Plus, the perfect adopted son she raised was outstanding and always obedient, making her incredibly satisfied. She just kept rambling blindly. I know that for you, the actual biological son, this feels very unfair and… Listen to her, she claims life is just unfair, saying Sterling has a tough fate. Our guy just stares at her and cracks up. A tough fate indeed. How else did he get stuck with a so-called mother like her? She freezes, but still speaks cautiously. Sterling, I am your real mom. I never meant to abandon you. As long as you return, I will give you everything. Sterling just laughs coldly at that promise. You will not even drop your adopted son, yet you claim you will give me the absolute best. What an absolute joke. She tries arguing, but he loses his patience completely. Get lost. Hearing your voice literally pollutes my ears. Seeing him stand firm, her face flushes bright red. How did I birth such a disrespectful brat? She keeps right on jumping around, just yapping constantly. Sterling raises a broom, giving her a shooing motion. Are you leaving or not? Scram, or I will poison you. Completely mute. Actually, he is just holding basic itching powder. It lasts a full day, plenty to make her suffer big time. Terrified he might actually do it, she snatches the bank card from the floor, curses him as a terrible son, and storms off. As soon as she leaves, the head butler walks right in. Young master, the family severance agreement has been prepped under the master's strict orders, if you have really thought it Please head to the Vance family ancestral hall at 8 p.m. Tonight to sign the paper. The master will witness it personally. Sterling nods happily. Perfect, thanks for the heads up, uncle. Now he didn't even want 10 million. Meanwhile, Reginald pauses while pouring tea, looking completely shocked. Has a brat fresh out of the countryside ever seen that much cash? 10 million. And he completely ignores it. Beatrix rubs her throat, her voice absolutely trembling with anger. It is worse than that. He even threw out crazy threats saying he wants to ruin our entire family, crush his sister's big career. Reginald furiously slams down the teapot. He really said that? Of course he did. He knows we discovered he was our real son years ago, but we just ignored him for so long, so he holds a serious grudge now. Hearing Beatrix spin this wild story, Reginald furrows his brows hard. I can tolerate his other tantrums, but ruining my daughter's career, I will not let him off. Is this actually true? Beatrix confirms it. 100% true. I honestly regret not recording it for you to hear. I was so mad I almost passed out right there. Right after saying that, she feels a sharp burn in her throat and quickly chugs a massive gulp of the fresh tea. Reginald just poured, so you and I can see he is ready to cut ties. I can tolerate some disrespect, but if he dares target the Vance family wealth, even if he is my biological kid, I will crush him, Reginald mutters darkly. Beatrix asks eagerly, so for the severance agreement tonight, we are definitely not going to stop him anymore. Keeping this kind of trash around is a total disaster waiting to happen. Better to cut him loose cleanly. If he starts trouble out there later, that becomes someone else's nasty little problem, completely unrelated to us. Reginald refuses to let anyone ruin his two precious children's careers. They were rising fast, and all the Vance family wealth was definitely going to be theirs eventually, but right now, with Sterling acting as a wild card, dividing the money gets super complicated. So you know what the most urgent move is: force Sterling to marry that so-called worthless girl from the Astor family, locking him entirely out of the Vance legacy forever. You need to quickly push that plan forward. Sterling is taking Asher's place to marry the eldest lady of the Astor family. Reginald gave the cold order. Beatatrix simply nodded. She agreed. There was absolutely no way Asher was marrying that crippled woman now. The only one left to take the fall is Sterling. I'll corner Grandpa about it tomorrow. Meanwhile, in the Starlight Media's CEO office, we meet our stone-cold boss sitting there. His brow twitched. He was seriously ticked off. I handed you the job of securing that massive copyright deal for Lily Evergreen's new book, The Chronicles of Azure. Almost a whole month has passed. Why haven't you reached out to her yet? Are you even doing your job? The terrified sales manager started sweating bullets and frantically tried to explain himself. Lily Evergreen's editor warned them. This writer is basically a ghost. Even the editor constantly loses touch with her. We just have to sit and wait for her to initiate contact. Orion Vance practically froze the room. I do not care about excuses. I am giving you exactly 1 more week. Fail to lock down this copyright, pack up and get out. Treated like absolute garbage, the stressed sales manager felt his blood boil. He finally snapped. President Vance, sir, do you seriously think your money alone can just buy up the Chronicles of Azure? The hype is absolutely unreal right now. Rival entertainment giants are circling this copyright too. Even if we actually get a hold of Lily Evergreen, she might just reject us flat out. Orion's expression instantly darkened. Then, what exactly am I paying you for? Do I need to handle this myself? The manager quietly grumbled. Even if you step in yourself, she might not even respect your authority. Say 1 more word and you are fired. The manager wanted to argue back but wisely swallowed his pride, muttered a yes, sir, and left. Orion rubbed his aching temples. They had recently burned crazy money signing trending idols, but 2 straight movies totally bombed without making any waves at all. If he failed to deliver a massive hit project soon, his skills would be roasted by Grandpa, he desperately needed this mega hit to secure his position. Just then, the office doors swung wide open. Big brother, Orion stared at his sister. Serafina, what happened now? She had skipped her studio completely, rushing directly to him to vent about the absolute madness from the last few days. You've been totally distracted. You have no idea how badly Asher is getting bullied back home. Furious, she dumped out every detail since Sterling showed up 3 days ago. Now watch Orion's reaction here. Wasn't he just peddling cheap herbs out in the sticks? Zero education, zero connections, so why is he flexing so hard the second he steps back into the Vance family? He literally dared to lay hands on you and Asher. Serafina yanked up her pants, exposing a nasty bruise right on her knee. Look at this, he kicked me so hard I almost broke something. Asher got smacked too. His face was completely red and swollen. You know exactly how he is. Ever since we were little, Asher never took that kind of disrespect. He's practically cried his eyes out these past few days. They are completely swollen shut, throwing her hands up. I cannot fight that psycho alone. You need to step in. Orion's expression looked perfectly calm, but his eyes were pure ice. I get it. Looks like I should make some time today to properly welcome my dear biological brother. His mood was already rock bottom and he seriously needed a punching bag. Since Sterling walked right into the line was crossed, he absolutely refused to hold back. Even at 2 p.m. the September sun was still blistering hot. Sterling stood quietly out in the front yard, casually drying precious herbs brought down from TM Mountain. Then, a harsh voice interrupted. So you are Sterling, that long-lost biological brother they just dragged back here. The guy sneering at him looked mid-20s. His sharp facial features were clearly related to Serafina, just way more hostile. Sterling kept his head down, focused completely on organizing the rare herbs. He answered neutrally, I am Sterling the Young, master of the Vance family, but I am not your brother. What do you want? Seeing Sterling obsessed with a pile of grass instead of bowing to him, Orion snapped. Serafina was not exaggerating one bit. This biological brother really was insanely arrogant, completely brushing him off. You know exactly who I am, yet you still act like trash. Orion swallowed his fury, desperately trying to keep his cool. With your garbage attitude toward this family, I would act the same, even if our parents were here. What kind of attitude do you expect from me? Sterling finally looked up, his eyes dripping with absolute sarcasm and contempt. Orion practically radiated pure hostility. Deciding this upstart brother did not deserve an ounce of politeness, Orion marched forward and ruthlessly stomped right on the drying herbs, crushing the fragile plants into the dirt. Sterling froze instantly. His calm expression shifted into a razor-sharp glare. Finally giving the bully his full attention, he stood tall, completely ignoring the taunts. He just casually flexed his hidden powers, flawlessly restoring the shattered herbs back to perfect condition. Orion blinked in pure shock, then burst into mocking laughter. Serafina was right. You are completely clueless, treating literal weeds like magical treasure. Smirking, the arrogant brother raised his designer shoe, aiming to trample another batch. Sterling felt no anger, just cold amusement. Do you even know the price of the herb you just ruined? Orion sneered back. It is grass just like you, completely worthless, not even 1 penny. At least 50 million, Sterling stated plainly. At an underground auction, the absolute minimum starting bid is 10 million. Your mother tried bribing me with 10 million today, praying I would accept her back. I rejected it. That pocket change cannot even buy a fraction of my harvest. Orion's face darkened, his eyes suddenly burning with intense killing intent. I did not come here to listen to your delusions. How are you compensating me? Hard cash or wire transfer? He stomped the dirt again, refusing to pay. You think I am powerless against you? Sterling totally ignored the tantrum, studying him coldly. No money, I will just take your leg as payment. Orion, officially losing his mind, grabbed Sterling by his shirt collar. Keep running your mouth and I will end you, I swear. Staring at that raging face, Sterling just chuckled. Orion, it is a massive pity you have not Tried yet, you will definitely die first. Breathing heavily, the arrogant brother screamed out, "Guards!" Instantly, 4 bulky bodyguards swarmed the yard, completely surrounding Sterling. Grab the trash, drag him away. Sterling did not even flinch. He offered zero resistance as the thugs hauled him from the East Villa, brutally shoving him into a black SUV. The vehicle sped off. Immediately, now watch this. 2 hours later, those bodyguards yanked him from the car, roughly throwing him inside some abandoned factory. Sterling hit the dirt, rolled, and smoothly steadied himself. Based on this sketchy setup, they were planning something lethal. He already knew this toxic family despised him and only worshipped his brother Asher, but he never imagined they were actually this ruthless. It made 20 years of living in hell feel like a cruel joke, but guess what? Sterling was done playing the victim. Payback time. Watch this. Orion orders the guards to lock up, dragging 2 bodyguards inside and slams it shut. He glares at our main character. "No one will know if I crush you right here," but our guy just smiles. "Yeah, great spot. Whatever happens today, nobody will ever know." Orion's eyes turn dead cold. "I am not your second sister. My temper isn't so forgiving. If I make a move, I am not wasting breath on you. Out of pure pity that you are my actual biological brother, I will overlook your total lack of manners. I will give you one single chance. Kneel down and apologize to Asher. Slap yourself 100 times and I might just spare you." Kneel down, apologize, slap his own face 100 times. Is this supposed to be some kind of opportunity? Orion sneers at him, completely merciless. "Even if you are my true blood brother, I feel absolutely nothing for you. I watched Asher grow up with me. How could you ever compare? But if you apologize and swear that you won't cause trouble, I will spare you for the sake of our blood." Our guy laughs so hard tears actually fall. "Orion, you are pure comedy. Honestly, everyone in this Vance family is completely delusional. You treat the literal enemies son like absolute royalty. Well then, whenever you have a kid, I will just swap them out. You can raise your worst enemy's baby instead. Meanwhile, your real biological child gets tossed into the slums to rot. How exactly does that sound?" Orion's eyes freeze over, pure murderous intent leaking out. "You dare? Why get mad?" Our hero smirks. "Does blood even matter? Even if it is an enemy's kid, you will still love them the exact same, right? So why even care?" He keeps mocking. Absolutely furious, Orion grabs his collar. "Enough, Asher is nothing like you. What his mother did was her fault." He grabs a sharp knife from the guard. "Since you want to be stubborn, do not blame me for going all out. I am carving up your face right now, turning you into a total monster. Then you won't ever embarrass Asher again." But right as Orion winds up to strike, his hands completely lose all their power. The heavy blade drops straight to the floor. Orion's entire body goes instantly numb. His legs buckle beneath him, unable to stand at all. What is happening? He gasps in shock. Our guy just claps. "You are poisoned." Orion desperately tries to stand. The 2 bodyguards realize the situation is terrible and lunge straight at our hero. But just like Orion, their legs turn to absolute jelly. They collapse hard, bodies twitching helplessly. He just laughs. "We all saw it coming. The second you touched me, the poison was set." Knowing he is completely doomed now, Orion forces all his remaining strength and screams out, "Guards, something is wrong. Get in here and help me." But as the words leave his mouth, his energy vanishes. He completely collapses, his head smacking brutally against the cold floor. Our hero crouches right down. "Stop screaming. Your useless guards outside, already passed out. Nobody is coming to save you today. Since you refuse to pay up, I am taking your leg instead." Orion roars. "You dare?" Our guy just tilts his head. "Why wouldn't I? Did you seriously think I would go easy?" He snatches the dropped knife, waving it right at Orion's face. "What did you say you were gonna do? Carve lines into my face? Man, that is just so ruthless. I am your own biological brother. You wanted to ruin my face just to vent anger for Asher. It breaks my heart." Orion desperately struggles to get Up, but the second his hands touch the floor, they turn to mush. Stick with me, he grows. He grew weaker by the second, eventually surrendering. He just glared at our guy. If you dare lay one single finger on me, Grandpa is going to kick you right out of the Vance family. Just because you are the true young master, do you honestly think Grandpa will pamper you? In the Vance family, I am still his absolute favorite person. Once you are kicked out, I will destroy you. Sterling simply twirled his knife. Looking completely bored, he told Orion, I do not need Grandpa backing me up. What should I do? I could not care less about the Vance family money. I only came back to see how you people live and to see if you felt guilty for my past suffering. But not a single person in this family feels any remorse. Oh well, I guess I will just have to show you some real pain. With that, Sterling dragged him into a dark corner and propped him up. No one can hear you here, so scream all you want if it hurts, our hero offered generously. He then flipped the heavy blade, crouched right in front of Orion, and sliced open his expensive pants, exposing the calf. At this point, Orion finally panicked. He was genuinely terrified Sterling would actually go through with it. Sterling, I am warning you right now, do not do anything stupid. We can talk. Did you not want 50 million in compensation? Fine, I will pay you immediately. But before he could even finish, Orion screamed in pure agony from the sharp pain in his leg. Thick blood oozed from the open wound. Dripping onto the floor, Orion broke into a cold sweat, seeing Sterling holding that bloody knife, getting ready to slice the tendons in his leg. His raw fear became completely palpable. Sterling, I give you one last chance to stop, if you really dare to slice my tendons, I will never let you go for the rest of my life. His desperate screams echoed loudly through the abandoned factory. Wow, hurts a lot. Does it not? You are screaming way too loud. Watch closely. Sterling pulled a needle from his sleeve, jabbing it straight into the guy's neck. Keep quiet for a bit. This is getting annoying. Suddenly, Orion could not make a single sound. He could only stare blankly as our MC pressed the knife against his calf, letting out pathetic, muffled groans. Bitter tears mixed with heavy sweat rolled down from his frightened eyes. The crushing pain made it impossible for him to fight back. Sterling did not stop. Bear with it a little longer. I am great at medicine. Severing a tendon will not take too much time. Eventually, Orion blacked out from the pain. Useless trash, passed out. Already, Sterling paused, yanked out the silver needle blocking his voice, and pierced a different pressure point to wake him up. Orion opened his blurry eyes, meeting Sterling's cold gaze. Awake, do not pass out this time. I am not done cutting yet. If you pass out, this will not be any fun. Those demonic words made Orion curse furiously. Sterling, you will die a horrible death. You can just keep cursing. I will never get bored. Sterling satisfyingly picked up the blade. I am going to continue severing your leg tendon now. With another brutal slice of the knife, Orion screamed tragically once again, his pale face turning terrifyingly white. But this time he stayed awake. Done. I only cut the tendon in your right leg for now. You should be grateful, since you used that exact leg to stomp on my precious herbs. Sterling tossed the knife aside, shoved a healing pill into his screaming mouth, and stood right up. Try walking and see if your leg still works. Orion realized he could finally move again. He gritted his teeth as he stood up, but his damaged leg only radiated agonizing pain. Zero strength left. We both know his heart just sank straight to the bottom of the abyss. Orion's right leg was completely crippled. He originally came to teach our MC a brutal lesson for Asher, but you and I see how that ended. Orion could not accept reality at all, screaming for someone to call the police. He refused to be a cripple. Watching him break down, our MC just felt completely bored. He expected a tough guy, but Orion broke after one slashed tendon. It just makes sense. These sheltered rich kids really are fragile, just as our MC was about to walk away. Slow clapping echoed from behind. He narrowed his eyes, turning around, totally surprised by an unexpected guest. Our MC stared at Lyra, wondering why. Are you here? Wasn't this fairy-like woman the exact same person who visited the Village looking for him earlier. Lyra just smiled, gesturing for her assistant Bastion to push her wheelchair forward. She admitted she originally came to see the exact place. That ruined her own legs, never expecting to witness such an incredibly entertaining show. Truly spectacular, she noted. Our MC tilted his head, so she was kidnapped. And brought here getting her legs broken too. Lyra nodded, gently touching her legs. Her eyes cast downward, eyelashes fluttering as if she was reliving a dark memory. Just like his brother, her legs were brutally broken while she was completely conscious. Our MC isn't great at comforting people. Over 20 years, he survived countless deadly dangers through pure resilience, absolutely no useless self-pity. As long as he has the talent, he will pay any price to reach the top. Nobody can ever surpass him. He told Lyra not to worry. He promised to cure her legs and definitely will deliver. She looked up with a warm smile, believing him completely. Pulling a white handkerchief from her pocket, she rolled her wheelchair closer and gently used the fabric to wipe the fresh blood off his hands. She noted he wasn't as comfortable in the Vance family as he previously claimed. Watching her actions, his suspicion slowly melted into a smirk. Very comfortable, actually. He just smoothly dealt with a problem, he joked. Now we need to know, how did she end up getting her own legs broken here? Was she in the mood for story time? He was completely free. Absolutely no rush to head back to the Vance estate. Stepping behind her, he pushed her wheelchair forward. She looked down, smiling softly. If he really wanted to know, she could tell him. Of course, our MC wanted all the details so he could fully understand her better. As she meticulously wiped his hands, he teased her, asking if she ever did this for Asher. She didn't stop cleaning his hands. Never. Her assistant, Bastion, immediately confirmed the young miss truly never had. Our MC continued joking around. Even if she did do it for him, her assistant wouldn't necessarily know about it. Bastion smiled, admitting our MC was the absolute first. Lyra tossed the blood-stained handkerchief away, pushing her wheelchair slightly back. She looked right at him with an unwavering gaze. It was his absolute honor, he replied. The honor was all hers. Lyra then looked at Orion bleeding on the ground. He is the eldest young master of the Vance family. How was he going to explain crippling his leg upon returning? Our MC just shrugged. How about poisoning him mute and chopping off both his hands? That way the secret stays buried forever. Hearing this, Orion completely panicked and dragged his crippled leg, desperately crawling toward the door. Really? Lyra just laughed. That was a brilliant idea, but she asked him to leave it to her. This was her family's business. She didn't want to bother him, adding that in the future she is his fiancé. Isn't his business her business? Good point, our MC laughed. Our hero doubted it. Stick with me. This was the first time she treated anyone this well. He walked straight up to Orion, completely blocked him, and pulled a tiny porcelain bottle from his pocket, literally forcing Orion to swallow a pill. The guy coughed violently, desperately trying to spit it out. Useless. That pill had already dissolved completely in his mouth with a weirdly sweet taste. What did he just eat? Orion panicked, knowing our guy wouldn't feed him anything good. It was just a non-lethal poison, but when it finally flares up, he'd literally beg for death. If Orion followed his orders obediently, he'd periodically get the antidote. Otherwise, he could enjoy the absolute agony himself. Orion completely scoffed. He had never even heard of a poison that insanely powerful before he could even finish. Our hero snapped his fingers. Instantly, Orion felt his internal organs getting ruthlessly crushed, a pain way worse than death itself. When the torture finally subsided, Orion was deathly pale, gritting his teeth in fury, yet too utterly terrified to speak. His life was fully in our hero's hands now. Realizing this terrifying fact, Orion shut his eyes in pure despair. Our hero clapped his hands. Orion was badly injured. Now he definitely couldn't return to the Vance family yet, so he'd have to stay with Lyra for now. He'd get picked up tomorrow. Lyra nodded and signaled Bastion, who immediately walked over and tossed Orion onto his massive shoulder, heading right out the factory. Those 4 useless bodyguards Orion brought were were dragged away by Bastion 2. The abandoned factory was finally empty, leaving just our guy and Lyra. Stick with me, no one to disturb them now. You and I are about to hear her whole story. Lyra smiled. She agreed, but this creepy place was ruining the vibe. Let's go somewhere way more peaceful. Our hero readily agreed. This scenic spot Lyra mentioned was out in the distant suburbs, nestled right between epic mountains and a quiet little stream. Not far from the water sat a beautiful pavilion. He asked if she built this pavilion herself. He leaned casually against a stone pillar, fully enjoying the evening breeze and stretching out. Lyra nodded. Whenever she was in a bad mood, she often came here. Well, before her legs were crippled anyway. He wondered what could possibly make someone like her sad. She came from serious wealth, living totally carefree. Did she simply have way too much money to spend? He playfully tilted his head, staring at the girl by the stone table. The gorgeous sunset completely illuminated her delicate face. That pale golden light shimmered on her cheeks, practically making his heart skip a beat. She chuckled at his words. Honestly, before all this, her life was perfectly smooth sailing. She literally never faced real hardships. Her only worries were company profits not meeting expectations. Lyra sighed heavily, giving a bitter smile. Then the accident happened, crippling her legs and absolutely everything around her completely changed. All that former respect and care vanished, quickly replaced by harsh mockery and alienation. Looking at their forced smiles now, she always felt they were incredibly fake. He shrugged. That was pretty normal. Whenever people fall from the very peak, fake kindness disappears fast, leaving only bitter people ready to kick you down. True loyalty during those dark times is truly valuable. Lyra looked right at him. Others actively avoided her, yet he accepted her. He laughed out loud. He didn't count as helping out. It was really just a mutual benefit. He liked her looks, and she had exactly what he needed. Saying that, he casually walked over and bent down to check on her crippled legs. Lyra joked right back. She should be glad her legs broke instead of her pretty face. Sterling gently pulled up her pant leg, checking the damage. Lyra just gave a soft chuckle. She finally began to reveal her past. Now the Astor family, absolutely massive, her father's generation alone had 7 siblings. Gideon Astor, her father, was the absolute youngest and widely considered completely useless. That is, until Lyra revealed her own genius. Winning the grandfather's favor and skyrocketing her dad's rank, she had a younger brother 5 years her junior, but right after his birth, some fortune teller told the old man that this boy would curse the entire Astor family's destiny. The grandfather, deeply superstitious, completely ignored her mother's pleas and just exiled the boy. Gone, only the grandfather and Gideon knew where he ended up. Totally heartbroken, Lyra's mother fell into a deep depression and passed away from illness shortly after. But thanks to Lyra's insane talent, she earned the old man's respect, using that leverage to demand her brother's return. 3 years ago, she finally brought Kaylin back home, bringing along an orphan girl named Nia. Now, even though Nia wasn't actually blood-related, she never left Kaylin's side. Because of that, Lyra treated her exactly like a real sister. Then a month ago, Nia was kidnapped. The ransom note demanded Lyra show up solo. She wasn't dumb enough to do that, so she secretly arranged for backup to shadow her. But get this, someone leaked her entire plan directly to the enemy. In that chaotic moment, there was zero time to hunt down the mole. She focused only on saving Nia. Ultimately, Lyra went in completely alone. She was dragged to that abandoned factory we just saw, where they brutally shattered her legs and tossed her aside like trash. Luckily, Bastion arrived with backup right in time to save both Lyra and Nia. Sterling processed this, then finally spoke up. That sounds like this enemy was specifically targeting you. What did your investigation actually turn up? Lyra just flashed an incredibly bitter smile. At first, they totally suspected a mole. But eventually, they uncovered the horrifying truth. The mastermind was likely Kaylin, her very own biological brother. She paused, real pain flashing across her eyes. Initially, she just could not comprehend why he would do this, but after locking herself in a room, thinking endlessly day and night, the pieces clicked. He felt it was incredibly unfair. Why did she get to live this luxurious life as an Astor, while he was left to rot in some orphanage? Sterling stared at her. So what is your move? Take revenge on your own flesh and blood. His eyes were dangerously cold. Listen to me, absolutely no one matters more than myself. If that kid actually loved and respected you, he would never have pulled this. But since he crossed you, he fully deserves to burn. Blood ties mean absolutely nothing here. Sterling only valued those who showed genuine loyalty. Hearing this, a dangerous, calculating glint flashed directly through Lyra's eyes. Makes perfect sense why you handled your own brother so easily. Sterling firmly nodded. Exactly. If they push me, why hold back? Lyra stayed silent for a brief moment, completely deep in thought, before smiling in true relief. She admitted she originally came by to clarify a few details, but after seeing exactly how Sterling handles business, she already knew her next move. He nodded with deep satisfaction. It is good you finally understand. Now watch this. Lyra gazed at him, her eyes carrying a profound determination and rare gentleness. Sterling, she whispered softly, meeting you is truly my absolute greatest fortune. He paused slightly, his fingers subconsciously curling to touch his lips. He coughed lightly a couple of times, quickly trying to mask the sudden embarrassment swelling inside, pretending to play it cool. Why say that so seriously? Lyra just smiled. Not serious, she teased. I was actually afraid you'd think I treat everyone this well, not just you. Learning to tease me now, Sterling smirked. He realized her previous fake, serious demeanor was an act. You and I know the saying, lie down with dogs, wake up with fleas, or here, getting close to ink turns you black, but near light, you get illuminated. Finishing up the check on Lyra's legs, Sterling stood up, clapping his hands. Done. I've done the preliminary check, he told her. Meet me right here tomorrow at noon and we'll officially start your treatment. It's getting late, and I have some major business to handle tonight. I can't stick around. Lyra's eyes flashed with a tiny hint of reluctance, but she managed a smile. Okay, see you tomorrow. Meanwhile, at 7 p.m., Alaric returned from the store, buying everything needed to prep for Sterling's massive welcome banquet. They hadn't seen Sterling around at all, and nobody was answering his phone. Spotting the maid Martha crossing the courtyard, they immediately called her over. Martha, have you seen Sterling? She shook her head. Honestly, no, madam, but at noon, the second madam came and aggressively argued with the young master. Then she left. After that, I was drowning in chores. I have zero clue where he actually went. Hearing Beatrix came looking for Sterling, Alara grew incredibly worried. What in the world is wrong with those two? At first, they completely refused to even claim Sterling as family. Now that he's officially cutting ties, they won't stop pestering him. Alara was already extremely fed up with Reginald and Beatrix. Are they seriously terrified that if we officially adopt Sterling, he'll steal Grandpa's inheritance? Hey, don't worry. Sterling has a strong mind of his own. He will be fine. Eric gently grabbed his wife's hand to comfort her. But it's so late. If he's fine, he should have told us. Alara called his number one more time, but still complete silence. She decided to go confront Beatrix directly. Arriving at the West Villa, they bumped into Beatrix's awful family just heading out. Get ready, Beatrix smirked. Big brother, sister-in-law, did you come looking for us? Perfect timing, honestly. We're heading to the ancestral hall right now to sign that tie-severing agreement with Sterling. Hold on, Alara demanded, angrily questioning. Beatrix, you went looking for Sterling at noon today, didn't you? Beatrix just nodded. Yeah, so what? I was merely giving him a chance to acknowledge us again. Well, Sterling is missing. His phone is totally unreachable. Did you say something to him? Beatrix rolled her eyes, instantly annoyed. Sister-in-law, what exactly do you mean? What does his sudden disappearance have to do with me? Are you seriously suspecting I kidnapped him? Standing right behind them, Asher's eyes flashed with pure, arrogant smugness. Then Serafina chimed in. Auntie, I bet he just regrets it. He didn't want to sign the Tie-severing agreement, so he cowardly ran away. Sterling is legitimately missing. I'm incredibly worried. About him, Alara fired back anxiously. Beatrix sneered. Big brother. Sister-in-law, it looks like compared to you two, Sterling still vastly prefers to acknowledge us as his true biological parents. You totally wasted all your efforts. Treating him well just to be abandoned. Asher gloated internally, desperately wishing the tie-severing agreement would be signed sooner. Now watch this. Alara's face looked absolutely terrifying. Beatrix, I am not joking around. Sterling is my son now. If anything happens to him, I will absolutely destroy you. Beatrix shot right back angrily. Oh, who's afraid of who? You're just a barren hen who can't lay eggs, only knowing how to steal other people's children, and you dare come to my own door to lecture me. Hearing this, Eric's face turned terrifyingly dark, his voice icy cold. Reginald, control your wife right now. After the Sterling incident, Reginald didn't mind completely tearing up his relationship with his older brother. Big brother, Beatatrix honestly isn't completely wrong. You two do not have children. The problem is either with sister-in-law or you. Now, you and I know Ara only cared about Sterling's absolute safety. Happens to Sterling, do not even dream of living in peace. Who are you scaring? With that fake loving mother routine, just stop pretending. If something happens to the kid, he literally brought it upon himself. What does that have to do with me? She refused to back down. Eric held Ara close, shooting a freezing glare right at Reginald. Eric warned him, in the past, I yielded absolutely everything to your side of the family, but now I see that Sterling was right all along. You guys totally don't deserve this. From now on, I am fighting for every single thing in the Vance family. It all goes to Sterling. I am done yielding to you people. Reginald offered a freezing smile. Big brother, if you really cannot fight, then just quit. You two literally have no children. What exactly are you going to fight with, relying on that trash son we threw away? He is nothing. Whatever weight second uncle has, I match it. Sterling's arrogant voice suddenly rang out. Everyone turned around, finding Sterling completely safe and sound. Ara and Eric immediately rushed over in a panic. Sterling, where were you? You did not answer your phone at all. Ara desperately grabbed his shoulders, inspecting him for any injuries. Completely over, afraid he was hurt, Sterling smiled. I am fine, Mom. It has been 3 days. And I just wanted to walk outside, but lost track of time. Ara quickly checked him thoroughly and seeing he was fine, breathed a sigh of relief. Why didn't you answer? Sterling played the helpless card. He claimed he dropped his phone and lost it. The truth, he dropped it when Orion dragged him away earlier today. He only realized it was missing later. He figured his new parents would be stressed, but you and I know marching to Reginald's house was a crazy move. Their pure dedication genuinely moved the kid, sighing in relief. Thank goodness you are okay. Asher frowned intensely, wondering, how can this even happen? Orion personally took him away. How did this guy walk back completely safely? Did his big brother somehow get persuaded, unable to harm his own biological brother? Beatatrix snorted coldly. See, your precious son is back. He is perfectly fine. You caused a massive scene at my house for literally nothing. Disgusting. Ara, absolutely unable to stand Beatatrix's family looking down on him, grabbed his hand. Sterling, let us go. Time to sign that family severance agreement right now. Seeing his new mother this fired up made Sterling burst into laughter. Yes, Mom. Beatatrix huffed like a maniac. Sign it. We will see who actually regrets this. Later at the Grand Vance family ancestral hall, witnessed by Grandpa Vance, Sterling stood before the tablets and boldly signed his name directly on that tie's severance agreement. Your turn. Sterling flashed a bright, cold smile. Reginald and Beatatrix did not even hesitate, slamming their signatures down one by one. He picked up the copy. Stick with me, because from now on he is completely severed from these horrible people. No contact. Beatatrix aggressively slammed her pen down. I will be watching to see what kind of absolute joke you guys end up making. Sterling smiled radiantly. Second aunt, did you forget what I told you at noon? Tell Your son to be a little careful. Beatatrix looked shocked, but she quickly snorted coldly. Keep daydreaming, as if I would believe you. Grandpa Vance raised his. Grandpa Vance waved his hand, his commanding gaze sweeping over his two sons. I called you to the ancestral hall, he announced. First, Sterling wants to cut ties. Second, about the Vance family assets. Hearing this, Reginald instantly perked up with greed. Grandpa Vance sighed. I am getting incredibly old. Who knows how long I have left? We need to clear some things up regarding the family fortune. The capable ones will get more. The useless ones should just stay quiet and avoid causing trouble here. That way, you still get a very carefree life. Reginald smirked, throwing a nasty glance at his older brother. Hear that, Alaric? The useless ones need to behave. You can still enjoy your lazy little life. Before Alaric could even respond, our MC Sterling shot Reginald absolute contempt. Jumping around like a clown, Reginald scowled hard. Sterling, but the boy snapped. Do not yell at me, you lack the right. Sterling waved the new agreement. High in the air, Grandpa Vance intervened. Enough, the rest of you leave. I need to speak with Sterling alone. Stepping outside the ancestral hall, the arrogant Reginald stared down his older brother with mock pity. Alaric, did you seriously understand what Dad implied? I currently control Vance Pharmaceuticals. That is the family's core. Orion runs Starlight Media perfectly. Serafina just dropped a massive hit debut album. Everyone loves her. So, Alaric, how exactly do you plan to fight me for these assets? The entire Vance fortune is guaranteed to belong to my side. Eric stayed totally calm. Dad is still breathing. Do not celebrate so soon. Reginald laughed out loud, patting Eric's shoulder. Your denial is honestly impressive. Just pray the old man survives a few more years. Then you can milk this family luxury just a bit longer. Watching him walk away, Eric sighed deeply before Sterling returned. He never realized his own bloodline could be this aggressively ruthless. Eric shook his head. He had been way too naive, thinking brothers would never fight to the death over mere inheritance. He used to just yield money and status freely. But here is the thing. For Sterling, Eric was finally ready for pure war. Sterling's adoptive mother watched him with fiercely gentle eyes. They refused to let their boy suffer anymore. They wanted to give him absolute perfection. Meanwhile, back inside the quiet ancestral hall, Grandpa Vance stood near the family tablets, locking his serious eyes right onto our MC. Sterling, the old man spoke, since returning to our family, you legally chose your eldest uncle and aunt as your parents. You stand tall as a wealthy young master here. I am certainly no fool like your second uncle, treating some outsider's kid like a precious prize. Sterling just nodded firmly. He was the one true Vance heir. After hearing the fake genius Asher's leaked recording yesterday, Grandpa had pondered for hours in total silence before sighing. Listen to me. Compared to Asher, you dropped out right after middle school. That puts you at a disadvantage. Even if I bribe you into a prestigious university, it is useless. I cannot force you through high school again, so tell me, what are your plans? What do you actually want to learn? What is your grand life strategy? The old man continued. Your biological parents groomed Asher into a nationally recognized prodigy. That is exactly why they refused to abandon him. All that nonsense about 20 years of emotional attachment, complete garbage. Sterling understood perfectly. To secure his spot within the Vance hierarchy, he had to completely crush Asher's legacy. Honestly, our MC only dropped out because he could master those pathetic school textbooks with a single, boring glance. School, total waste of time for Sterling. He just paid someone to buy his textbooks. By 16, he had already self-taught the entire high school and university curriculums. He studied what he liked, plus extra skills. You and I know this wealthy circle. It eats people alive without leaving a single bone behind. To get respect and power, you need actual skills to make them bow. This right here was the first lesson Grandpa Vance taught his newly returned biological grandson, a harsh one. The old man glared at him strictly. Sterling just smiled calmly. Grandpa He understood surviving in this mansion way easier than the hell he escaped. He knew how to survive. Asher's little tricks were just to please people, but Sterling. He knew things that would make people beg him. Grandpa Vance was totally shocked. What? Do you know it's a long story, Grandpa? He knew many things, like medicine for instance. Grandpa Vance's eyes narrowed with heavy suspicion. He had already investigated. Knowing Sterling lived in the countryside, selling wild herbs and treating illnesses. It seemed Sterling didn't feel inferior to Asher at all, and he definitely wasn't showing any weakness. He told his grandpa he didn't just want to crush Asher, but also Orion and Seraphina. If he had the capability, would the old man consider handing over Vance Pharmaceuticals and Starlight Media to him? Grandpa Vance was absolutely stunned. The kid actually dared to speak so arrogantly. Did he truly have the skills? Currently, the Vance family was tanking because the younger generation was basically useless. The eldest son had some decent talent but zero drive. The second son, huge ambition, terrible capability, constantly ruining everything. And among the grandchildren, Orion and Seraphina had a little talent, but definitely not enough to lead the family anywhere. This forced them to literally rely on arranged marriages just to expand their power. Grandpa Vance thought about it deeply, then spoke. If you truly have the skills to surpass your father and cousin, I will hand over both Vance Pharmaceuticals and Starlight Media. Sterling looked him dead in the eye. You better keep your word, Grandpa. The old man promised not to look down on his young age. As long as Sterling proved his skills, he could totally inherit and run the entire Vance empire. He waved him off. All right, get out of here. It's late. Go back and rest with your parents. Grandpa is turning in early. Sterling offered a polite goodbye and left the ancestral hall. Grandpa Vance watched the boys retreating figure, sighed, and muttered to the head butler, this grandson is truly ice cold, not a single ounce of human warmth in him. The butler smiled. The young master was indeed brilliant, but after facing so much suffering, he obviously cannot tolerate any disrespect, and honestly, it makes complete sense. After all, wandering alone for 20 years, you definitely don't survive on just human warmth. Alone, Grandpa Vance stared off into the distance, eyes heavy, his heart completely full of expectations. Let's see what this kid is truly capable of, shall we? Meanwhile, Ara and Alaric were nervously waiting for him in the pavilion outside the ancestral hall. Seeing Sterling walk out, they rushed over immediately. Sterling, what did Grandpa say? Nothing much, Sterling calmly replied. He just asked what he wanted to learn and his future plans. He smiled. Ara let out a massive sigh of relief. So how did you answer? Sterling kept it perfectly cool. He asked if he crushed Reginald and Orion. Would Grandpa hand over Vance Pharmaceuticals and Starlight Media? Both parents absolutely froze. Ara then burst out laughing. She honestly thought he would learn music, chess, or calligraphy. Or painting. You and I know she is thinking way bigger now, taking over the Vance family assets is the only way to secure their future. Eric completely agrees. He admits that he and Ara never cared about the family wealth before, but things are completely different now. They have to fight for it to guarantee her safety. She smiles. Exactly right. She wants the entire Vance fortune to lock down their future. Night falls. The second Lyra rolls through the door. Kaylin speaks up. Eldest sister, you are back late. Bastion turns her wheelchair around. Kaylin and Nia approach them. Nia stares at Lyra, pure gloating in her eyes, but Lyra ignores the dirty look. Nia gives a fake smile. Just getting fresh air, Kaylin stares at Lyra's crippled legs, putting on a worried act. Eldest sister, you should stay inside more often. What if you have another accident? Nia instantly pretends to feel guilty, saying it is all her fault. If Lyra had not saved her, she wouldn't have crippled her legs. This massive engagement with the Vance family heir is going to be announced next week. She fake wonders if the Vance family will see this and cancel the whole thing. Would they really let their precious young master marry the eldest sister now? She keeps pushing. Rumor has it that the eldest Sister did not just break her legs, but also cannot have children anymore. Brutal. The Astor family heir position might be lost. Kaylin pretends to be furious and scolds her softly. Nia, what kind of nonsense is that? She quickly covers her mouth, putting on an apology act. Oh, so sorry, eldest sister. I did not mean it. I am just worried about your future happiness. If Vance cancels this marriage, you will lose face, and the entire Astor family will be totally humiliated. Kaylin warns her again, looking strict but definitely not actually blaming her. Nia sticks her tongue out, playing the obedient little sister. Okay, I will shut up. Kaylin shakes his head helplessly and lets out a sigh. Eldest sister, we spoiled Nia way too much, getting more out of control. Right on cue, Lyra smiles. She agrees. Ever since becoming a cripple, Nia has crossed every single line. Running her mouth, she even dares to gossip about her ability to have kids, reminding her that she forgot. She is just an adopted orphan in this family. She needs to relearn the basic rules. Nia is completely stunned. She never expected Lyra to snap back today. Being called a mere adopted kid who needs manners. Yeah, that made her furious. Kaylin quickly steps in. Eldest sister, I will discipline her later. Before he can even finish that sentence, Lyra cuts him off. Gentle but absolutely icy. No need for later, do it now. Bastian drops the wheelchair handles. Steps right up to Nia. Stick with me here. He slaps her hard across the face. Nia screams and hits the floor. She holds her cheek in pure shock, staring up at Bastian. Lyra looks down calmly, telling Nia not to think that just because she has played the role of the third miss for such a long time, she is actually family. She reminds her that she is just an orphan Kaylin brought home. If Lyra had not taken pity and let both of them stay, they would still be fighting for dirty scraps at the orphanage. Kaylin narrows his eyes. A cold glint flashes, but he instantly forces a bright smile. Eldest sister always loved Nia. She was just playing around today. Why get so incredibly angry? Lyra keeps her faint smile. We are about to see her strike back. It's only a joke if I find it funny. Otherwise, it's an insult, just like a dog I feed. You only bark when I allow it. Nia is absolutely humiliated, eyes wide with burning anger, but she doesn't dare step out of line. Just suppressing that fury, she stays quiet. Kaylin's voice suddenly turns ice cold. Did you hear that, Nia? No more stupid jokes in front of our eldest sister from now on. Holding her stinging cheek, Nia just nods, totally speechless. Lyra smiles, all gentle and sweet. Glad you understand. Don't let it happen again. She gives Bastian a quick signal to turn the wheelchair, heading toward the backyard. But Bastian, he is absolutely furious. You and I can see Nia is biting the hand that feeds her. If Lyra hadn't pitied that orphaned girl, she'd never even be the third miss of the powerful Astor family. Now the master is delaying the heir announcement because of Lyra's crippled legs. And Nia dares to act arrogant. Then there's the second young master, totally exiled by the master because some fortune teller called him a jinx. If Lyra hadn't begged for him, he'd still be rotting out there. Yet he shows zero gratitude, blaming Lyra for ruthlessly fighting for the heir position. The moment they're alone, Lyra drops the smile, fingers drumming on the wheelchair armrest. I just don't get it. We are real blood siblings. Why does Kaylin despise me this much? If he just wants to be the Astor family heir, I would have gladly stepped aside. But no, he wants my life to get it, so don't blame me for showing zero mercy. Meanwhile, in another corner, Nia is raging. Brother, how dare she actually hit me? And she said, I'm not the third miss, but I am clearly father's true biological daughter. Brother, when can I finally reveal who I really am? Kaylin pats her shoulder, trying to soothe her. Nia, don't rush this. Nia tears up. How can I not? Lyra looked at me like absolute trash today. Kaylin softens his tone. Just endure it a little longer. Once I lock down the heir position and get rid of Lyra, you will rightfully be the true third miss of the Astor family. Nia grips Kaylin's hand, tears rolling down her face. Brother, you have to kill her. Of course, I'll make her pay. Kaylin sighs, but we can't strike yet. Lyra already knows I'm the one behind The attacks moving against her now is too risky. We need a solid plan. Nia, full of bitter resentment, mutters, she's so lucky she survived last time. Kaelin stays completely calm. It doesn't matter. Grandpa still hasn't announced the heir, which proves he's seriously second-guessing Lyra for the top spot. Our goal, it's basically already half achieved. Nia nods, her eyes turning malicious. She's already a cripple. Grandpa isn't crazy enough to let her be the heir. Kaelin looks blindly confident. Hold on a little longer, Nia. We're about to win. Meanwhile, back in her room, Lyra drops the family severance agreement into a desk drawer, heading straight into the bathroom for a long, hot soak. Afterwards, Snow, her literal pet snake, wraps its tail around a bright red phone, slithers right through the window, and sets the device next to her. Sitting on the bed, Lyra dries her hair, grabs the phone, and smiles. Good job, Snow. The snake, thrilled by the praise, actually spins around a few times on the mattress before slithering off to flex on Obsidian, Teo Hawk, and Jade. Now get this, these pet snakes of hers all have unique specialties. Obsidian is a master of ambushes and deadly venom. Snow excels at tracking and searching. Finished drying her hair, Lyra checks the red phone again. A new text pops up from an unknown number popped up. Sterling, block me again and you will forever lose your chance to be my boyfriend. This Saturday, I'm heading to the welcome banquet for the Vance family's true young master. You have probably never seen such a grand party, right? If you still want to be my boyfriend, come to Kim City High-Speed Rail Station. Act as my personal assistant and I will take you inside. Remember, this is your final chance. Sterling sank into deep regret. Why did he ever save Priscilla's life back then? Just letting her rot on the streets would have been way better. The most humiliating part, he actually thought she was decent and dated her for 2 months. This mistake will forever be the biggest stain on his life. But what a coincidence, his own welcome banquet actually invited Priscilla. We're about to see her priceless expression when she finds out he is the true young master of the Vance family. He didn't bother calling her an idiot before blocking her. He simply texted back, okay, noon tomorrow, high-speed rail station. Sterling smirked to himself. Just you wait, keep waiting until you rot because I'm never showing up. Lying in bed, he noticed a news alert. Rumor had it the heir of a wealthy Kim City family was unable to reproduce. Sterling instantly forwarded the link to Lyra. Soon, she replied with a smiling emoji, followed by a confused face, and finally, don't believe it. Seeing her panic, he was about to text, don't worry, I can cure you, but he quickly deleted it. Honestly, Sterling didn't care if Lyra could have children or not. To him, marriage didn't strictly require having kids. There were plenty of other amazing things to do in life. He sent a supportive emoji. I believe you, Lyra quickly replied, are your family matters settled? He got up, grabbed the severing ties agreement from his drawer, snapped a photo and sent it over. Done. Lyra read the message and laughed, amazed by his decisive actions. Having just returned to the Vance family for barely a few days, he had already cut ties with his biological parents. She texted back, by cutting ties with Reginald, won't that guy kick you out of the Vance family? Sterling replied, I adopted my eldest uncle and aunt as my parents. They treat me incredibly well. To me, they are now my biological parents. Lyra smiled warmly reading that message. It was true, not all biological parents actually love their kids. She shared, it's exactly like my side. My father doesn't like me much, especially after bringing Kaelin back. He very clearly cares more about him, but I don't mind. After all, Kaelin suffered a lot outside, so it's normal for our father to compensate him. I just didn't expect him to want my life. Staring at the screen, Sterling sent a hug emoji, then joked, in the future when we get married, whoever dares to bully my wife, I will destroy them. Lyra chuckled softly at that. He continued teasing her. Madam, rest assured I will protect you perfectly. I only hope Madam serves me well to repay the favor. Wrapping up the chat with Lyra, he called Wraith. Boss, how does it feel returning to the Vance family? Pretty interesting, I bet. Wraith, go help me Investigate the Vance family's core industries and all their management. Situation, Wraith quickly agreed. Got it. Sterling fell asleep, dreaming of pinning Lyra down. His fingers lightly traced her soft skin, moving from her chest down to her stomach. Every single touch made her tremble slightly. Her eyes sparkled with a fiery, passionate light. Lyra looked at him so gently and whispered, "Sterling, if you like it, touch more." Sterling smirks wickedly. "Of course I like it. I'll touch you every day from now on." Lyra's voice drips with pure devotion. "My whole body, wherever you like, I'll let you touch," he winks. Little Lyra is so totally obedient. She lines into his ear and whispers softly, "I'm this obedient. Shouldn't you reward me a little?" All right. Sterling bends down, lightly biting her neck. Lyra's breathing quickens in response, holding him tight, practically melting into his arms. But suddenly, his face just feels completely itchy. Sterling snaps awake. It's just obsidian, snow, and jade, his 3 pet snakes rubbing their scaly heads against his cheeks. He sighs helplessly, lets out a massive yawn, and then pushes them away. Seeing him awake, the trio gets super excited, happily wriggling around, clearly demanding their breakfast. He gets up, checks the cabinet for food, but then sees the freeze-dried spiders are practically gone. He pours all the leftovers onto the table, grabbing his pets. "Eat up, guys. Tonight I'm taking you all out for a massive buffet." The 3 snakes happily gobble down the spiders. Meanwhile, Sterling just sits, watching them, his mind totally drifting, still stuck on that spicy, unfinished dream. He actually tries closing his eyes, hoping to just jump back in. But the magic is totally gone. Opening his eyes helplessly, he just thinks, "Whatever, once Lyra and I are married, we can be intimate for real." So while eating breakfast with his new parents, the head butler suddenly walks in. "Sir, madam, the master wants the young master in the main hall right away." His dad, Alaric, naturally wonders, "What's going on?" The butler replies, "It's about the upcoming arranged marriage between the Vance and Astor families." Sterling just raises a single eyebrow, quietly thinking, finally, here it comes. "All right, guys, watch closely." His mom, Ara, looks at him dead serious. "Sterling, your second uncle and aunt will absolutely use your status as the Vance family's heir to convince Grandpa to literally have you replace Asher in this marriage with Lyra. Let me ask you one more time, are you absolutely certain you want to marry Lyra?" He nods without a single hesitation, remembering that wild dream. Sterling whispers to himself, "I honestly want to marry her as soon as possible so we can finally get intimate." Ara doesn't quite catch that last part. Clearly, what was that? Sterling shakes his head. "Nothing, just confirming 100% I want to marry Lyra." Seeing his unwavering gaze, she knows he is dead set and doesn't say anything else. "Your father and I will firmly support whatever choice you make." Arriving at the main hall, Beatatrix, Asher, and Seraphina are already waiting. Seeing Sterling, Asher looks super smug. Beatatrix sneers, "Sterling, you're here. You returned to the Vance family at the perfect time. Just got back and you already get to use your shiny new young master title to marry the eldest daughter of the Astor family." Ara immediately snaps back, "You are honestly so good at lying through your teeth. If the Astor family's eldest daughter hadn't just literally gotten into an accident and broken her legs last month, would you ever consider actually letting Sterling marry her? When we brought my boy back, you definitely weren't this proactive. Now that you need Sterling to replace your adopted son in actually marrying Lyra, you're suddenly super enthusiastic." Beatatrix hears the biting sarcasm, but honestly, since their family ties are officially severed, she doesn't even need to pretend anymore. She replies bluntly, "Speaking of which, sister-in-law, you really should be thanking me. I let you two go pick up Sterling, and now hasn't he finally completely acknowledged you as his mother? Consider your wish completely fulfilled." But Ara isn't even angry. Instead, she smiled warmly. "Thank you for letting me step in as his mother." Beatatrix watched this. You and I can tell she figured the woman was faking. Seraphina scoffed, "You really think my trash is some kind of absolute treasure?" She spat. "Compared to Asher, Sterling is useless," but our guy just smirked. Why assume he is worse than Asher? Sterling fired right back at her. Isn't it obvious? Look at the difference. Asher is a famous prodigy in Kim City. You think you can compete? Sterling didn't flinch. Whatever he knows, I know. It is just music, chess, painting, and maybe speaking a few different languages. You spent a fortune raising the enemy's switched kid. Is that really a flex? Bringing up the baby swap hit hard. Serafina's expression instantly turned incredibly sour. She glared at him. Like it or not, Asher is far better than you. That is an absolute fact. You just smear him by dragging his terrible mother. Sterling shook his head. Actually, I do not think his mom is terrible at all. She treated her kid well. She literally committed a crime to give him everything. Way better than a second aunt who fully despises her own actual biological son. She refuses to even claim him. Sterling totally faked a look of deep admiration. Those words absolutely choked both women. They had zero comeback. Then Asher chimed in. Brother Sterling, if you really want to learn, I would gladly teach you myself. Sterling shot him a look. Then perform right now. Prove you are actually qualified. Caught completely off guard, Asher froze. Was Sterling seriously demanding a performance right here? How was this any different from treating him like some kind of circus clown? Asher choked down his rage, forcing a polite smile. Saturday night is our welcome banquet. If you want to see me play, I will gladly offer it. As a gift to you, Sterling let out a dark chuckle. A gift, really? Or do you just want an audience to prove you are so much better than me? Asher kept smiling, but his eyes looked venomous, if you see it that way. I cannot change your mind, Serafina snorted. He is just terrified you will steal. His thunder at the banquet. Sterling gave a totally careless shrug. You worry way. Too much at my own welcome party. Nobody is stealing my spotlight, Serafina laughed. Her eyes were packed with absolute disgust. Just do not humiliate the Vance family. Yet you still expect to shine. Sterling smirked, his eyes flashing with crazy confidence. Just you wait, I will blind you all. Suddenly, Grandpa Vance slowly walked right in, leaning on the head butler. His steps wobbled slightly, but his gaze remained terrifyingly sharp. He entered the living room, sweeping his eyes around. What are you kids bickering about? Seeing him, Serafina immediately jumped to play the victim. Grandpa, look, Asher wants to perform at the welcome banquet. To honor Sterling, but he is acting totally ungrateful. Our guy just shrugged. Like it was nothing. Stop making up lies for Grandpa. I merely wondered if Asher was just using this to show off. I never said I rejected the offer. Serafina frowned deeply. Then what do you mean? Sterling gave a cold smirk. It is simple. If Asher wants to perform at the banquet, let him perform as much as he desires. After all, he is welcoming me. Serafina was totally stunned by this. She expected a tantrum. You and I know Sterling is plotting something, she started. Racing, trying to figure out his hidden scheme, but staring at his calm face, she found absolutely nothing. Grandpa Vance finally spoke. All right, I called everyone. The whole family gathered for one thing, the Astor family marriage arrangement. Grandpa locked eyes with our MC. You and I know the Astors rule Kim City. Top-tier wealth, marrying them, a massive power play for the Vance family. Sure, the eldest Astor daughter broke her legs, but honestly, who cares? Her status remains untouchable. Countless rival families are turning green with absolute jealousy. Over this golden alliance, our guy just gave a calm nod. Grandpa Vance pressed on. So, are you willing to marry the eldest Astor lady? He paused, dropping a bomb. Actually, if she does not mind that Asher is just the adopted son, and she agrees to keep the engagement with him, there is zero need to swap him out for you. At this, Asher looked totally panicked, but Sterling just smiled. It is fine, Grandpa, I accept. The old man frowned, demanding, are you absolutely sure? He nodded without hesitation. Yes, Beatrix was practically buzzing. She really thought convincing him would take some serious effort. Completely shocked he agreed so fast, seeing his zero hesitation. The old man could not read his mind at all. He finally sighed. All right, it is settled. I will inform the Astors soon. Before the big engagement banquet, try to get to know her a bit better. Spend some real quality time with her. Sterling just calmly replied, yes. Grandpa, the second the old man walked out, Serafina started mocking him immediately. Sterling, with your background, marrying her is basically winning the entire social lottery. If she were healthy, a total loser like you would never get this chance. Our MC could not care less, scoffing lightly. Asher, this fake young master. Marrying Lyra, now that would be climbing the ladder. He and Lyra were. A flawless match, totally meant to be. Too bad Asher is completely clueless. Just because she is in a wheelchair, that idiot thinks she lost her. Heir status and bilaid on the engagement. Sterling then warned Serafina to back off completely, keep her toxic words far away from his ears. Then he happily grabbed his real parents by the hand. Mom, Dad, let us go. Time to prep for my banquet. His parents beamed with pure doting affection. Okay, our son will be the absolute prince tonight. Nobody steals your spotlight. Serafina glared at their backs as they left, muttering with cold venom, let us see how badly you embarrass yourself at this welcome banquet. She turned sharply to Asher. Asher, you need to bring your absolute A-game tonight. Crush his presence so he knows he is trash. Despite her demands, Asher felt deeply insecure. He knew he was just a fake, showing off might seriously anger his adoptive parents in the Vance family, or worse, enrage Grandpa, Beatrix. Did not care at all, just do it, if it pisses them off. Perfect. Saturday night rolled around. Banquet invites were already out. Alaric decked out the venue with only the most premium luxury materials, preparing every single detail flawlessly. They wanted the entire world to see how much they valued their true son. Despite the insane setup, his dad still worried he missed something. Double-checking the layout and his son's outfit, hearing Sterling's approval, the man felt bursting with pride. I bought only the absolute best. When you walk out, everyone will be speechless. Meanwhile, Sterling went to see Lyra. Today, her leg treatment officially kicked off. Orion leaned casually against a pillar, his face screaming. All right, let's watch. Sterling ignore the annoyance. Sitting beside Lyra, he says, today we start treating those legs. It is going to hurt a lot, but if you push through, you will see real results in 3 months. Lyra nods eagerly. Okay, do it. Her own biological brother caused her injuries. Knowing that twisted betrayal, she honestly feels no physical pain could ever break her now. Sterling looks at her, eyes flashing with pure admiration. She is definitely worthy of being his chosen woman. Curing her requires not just his insane medical skills, but absolute willpower from the patient. Her fierce attitude makes Sterling extremely satisfied with her. The whole chosen woman comment makes Lyra secretly thrilled. Her eyes literally twinkle with joy. Totally ignoring the massive pain she is about to face, Sterling calmly places his acupuncture kit and a few bottles of special medicine right on the stone table. He gently pulls up her clothes. Today, she purposely wore a loose dress just for this. Glancing at her legs, Sterling blurts out, your legs are seriously sexy. Lyra completely freezes. Bastion, watching from afar, almost chokes on air. Lyra coughs with an awkward smile. Glad you like them. Sterling raises an eyebrow, his hands never stopping. Obviously, I have to like them. If I honestly did not, why would I ever agree to this whole engagement thing? Lyra is completely stunned. The Vance family already made our marriage deal clear. Sterling very carefully inserts the silver needles, keeping his focus down. Grandpa brought it up this morning. He said since I am the true young master of the Vance family, I should be the guy marrying you. Sterling agreed. He also told me to hang out with you when I am free, just to get close. Lyra smiles. The old master is totally right. We should meet more often to understand each other. Sterling nods. Are we not getting pretty close right now? At least until your legs fully heal. We have to meet every day. Lyra jokes. So once I am healed, does that mean no more daily meetings? She watches him intently as he places another needle. She smiles. Sterling bursts out laughing. You really love overthinking my words, huh? After you heal up, if you still feel like it is Not enough, we can just move up the wedding date. Would we not still be seeing each other every day then? Lyra smiles. Yeah, I think so too. During the treatment, intense pain slowly floods her legs. It seriously feels like her bones are snapping into tiny pieces, but despite the agony, she just grits her teeth and does not show a single thing. She stops talking entirely to focus, noticing her silent pain. Sterling finally looks up. If it is too much, do not force it. I brought painkillers. Pale-faced, Lyra shakes her head. No need at all. I want to remember this exact pain. Sterling shrugs. Suit yourself. Orion observes them secretly, completely curious. Lyra has not known Sterling for long, so why is she acting this good to him? From her voice down to her eyes, she is full of total affection. It is completely different from the cold, polite distance she always keeps with Asher. Could it be that Lyra actually likes Sterling and feels nothing for Asher? Fast forward 3 hours. Sterling pulls out every single silver needle from Lyra's legs, wrapping her battered knee joints in thick, medicine-soaked bandages, and stretches his back out. Done for today. He secretly admires her wild endurance. This whole process was pure agony, not bad for the woman he plans to marry. Lyra wipes cold sweat off her forehead. She rubs her legs, actually feeling the joints getting less stiff now. If they really heal in 3 months, should we plan the wedding for exactly 3 months from today? What do you think about that? Sterling sits on the bench, casually sterilizing his. You and I are jumping right in. Acupuncture needles. He warned she might regret this later. But Sterling wasn't sweating it at all. Even if Lyra backed out, he had his methods to keep control. Lyra just scoffed. Absolute nonsense. In this life I will only choose you. Sterling burst out laughing, packing the needles away in their box, flashing a huge grin. Then let's plan the wedding after those legs fully heal. Seeing how incredibly fast he agreed, Lyra just stared at him, her eyes sparkling with a warm smile. Before today, arranged marriages were just a basic political tool. Marry whoever helps the family. She honestly never thought a day like this would come where she actually wanted married life. So how did you two even meet? Orion asked from the back seat driving home. Sterling just coldly glanced in the mirror. Right through that rearview mirror. Lyra actually came to me. She likes me and totally wants to marry me. Orion laughed out cold. Do you seriously think she wants you now that she is disabled? She just refuses to drag Asher down, so she chose you as a backup plan. Sterling fired right back. Oh, so Lyra chose me as a backup? Did you all not drag me back here just so I could replace precious Asher and marry her? Now you hear I want to, and you are mad. Orion completely failed to deny it. They absolutely brought the real brother back to swap with Asher. But they could not let Asher marry a crippled girl. But for Sterling, the actual biological brother who always had it rough, marrying someone like Lyra was basically a massive favor. A huge charity case. Sterling just smirked. Or maybe I should go tell Grandpa to make Asher marry her. Who knows? Maybe the golden boy really does not want to marry her because she is crippled. But honestly, she obviously likes me way more anyway. With zero interest in Asher, Orion let out a cold snort. I do not know where your confidence comes from. You are way inferior. His look of pure disdain matched Serafina perfectly. Sterling smirked again. My confidence absolutely has a solid basis, like how I am absolutely certain you will not dare tell anyone who really sliced your right leg tendon. Hearing that brutal threat, Orion looked absolutely sick, his fists clenching tighter. Finally pulling up to the Vance estate, Sterling parked the car and glanced at the back seat. Get out. Do not tell me you cannot walk anymore. Watching his brother endure pure agony, humiliatingly stepping right out of the car, Sterling threw him a half smirk, feeling zero sympathy. Who asked you to come looking for trouble yesterday anyway? If you had just stayed away, your leg would be fine. Speaking of which, I remember Serafina practically begged you to do it, so go blame her for opening her mouth. Because she was too scared to face me directly, so she used you as a convenient scapegoat. Right on cue, Serafina and Asher pulled their fancy Porsche right into the parking lot. Asher quickly jumped out, yelling for his big brother with a huge smile. But seeing Sterling standing right next to Orion, Serafina looked stunned. Big brother, why? Are you with Sterling? Sterling immediately mocked her. My own biological brother just got back home recently. Whenever he has some free time, big brother comes over to visit and care for me. Serafina completely froze up. She suddenly remembered complaining earlier about poor Asher getting bullied, sending Orion to settle the score. But you and I know. She never expected Sterling to be standing there untouched. We cut ties. I do not have a brother like you, Serafina snapped coldly. Sterling just laughed. I cut ties with all of you first. I do not need you people. Sterling patted Orion on the cheek. Remember to obey me or face the consequences yourself. Right after Sterling finally walked away. All right, let's see this. Serafina was confused. Big brother, aren't you settling the score with Sterling? How come he is totally fine and actually dared to speak to you like that? Orion looked terrible. The sharp pain in his right leg almost made him unable to stand straight. Asher noticed something was wrong and asked in shock, Big brother, what is wrong with your leg? Serafina was absolutely stunned looking at his right leg. Orion just roared, enough, stop asking. He dragged his brutally crippled right leg and painfully limped away. Asher's eyes immediately turned red with heavy worry. Could this be Sterling's doing? Serafina was furious. It had to be him. Earlier I went to Big Brother. He definitely went to settle the score with Sterling, and as a result got hurt like this. Asher choked up. What do we do now, Big Brother's leg is not truly crippled, right? Serafina quickly comforted him. No matter how bold Sterling gets, he would not dare cripple Big Brother's leg. I will investigate this. If he actually hurt him, our family will absolutely not let him off. Over in the living room, Beatatrix saw Orion walk in and frowned. What is wrong with your leg? Is it broken? Orion's face was deathly pale. Beatatrix worriedly wanted to check, but he just impatiently waved his hand. What are you looking at? Completely panicked by his harsh attitude, Beatatrix could only silently feel wronged. Realizing his tone was way too harsh, Orion took a deep breath to calm down. Mom, call the Vance family doctor right now. Beatatrix nodded, her hands shaking badly as she made the call, deeply worried about her son's severe injury. Looking at Orion's reaction, this was not just a simple broken leg. Was he beaten up? Who would actually dare crush her son's leg? Just then, Serafina and Asher returned. She very quickly asked them, Serafina, Asher, do you two know what happened to your big brother's leg? Asher just looked troubled. Serafina furiously gritted her teeth. It must be that country bumpkin Sterling's doing. She recounted, going right over to Starlight Media to complain about Asher being bullied, and just now in the parking lot seeing him disrespecting Orion. Beatatrix was totally furious. If it's really him, I won't let him off. Meanwhile, Orion dragged his crippled leg back to his room, sitting on the bed, looking at his totally severed right tendon, feeling utterly powerless. His patience was quickly running out. A sudden knock on the door. Orion, the doctor is here, Beatatrix gently called from outside. Yes, Orion was so relieved, struggling to get up to open the heavy door. Mom, you go out first. Beatatrix looked at him so worriedly, but she still left. The door closed. The doctor looked at Orion's leg with deep concern. Eldest young master, let me properly examine your leg. Orion just shook his head. Seriously, it is not just the leg. You need to check what poison I have been infected with. The doctor was totally startled, put down his medical kit, and carefully examined him thoroughly. The more he actually checked, the heavier his expression became. Finally, he sighed. I apologize, eldest young master. I do not know what poison you've ingested. Orion's face immediately turned ashen. He asked if there was any medicine to suppress the brutal poison's flare-ups. The doctor helplessly shook his head. I do not know what this poison is. How can I know the antidote? Stick with me. After the doctor left, Orion was absolutely desperate but did not give up. He called Mr. Lin, the owner of Kim City's largest auction house, a man with wide connections. Mr. Lin, do you happen to know anyone who is an absolute expert at curing poisons? Mr. Lin replied, the very best. Poison expert in the entire country is actually a master of using poisons, but meeting. Tracking this guy down is incredibly difficult. He only visits the auction house to sell fresh medicinal herbs and their value, absolutely massive, Orion said with pure urgency, as long as this poison gets cured, money means absolutely nothing. Mr. Lin just sighed, meeting him is definitely not easy. I can only promise to alert you the next time he attends the auction. Orion hung up the phone, gripping it so hard his knuckles turned white, his heart boiled with pure anger and dark resentment. He swore that the second he cured this poison, he would make Sterling pay. But let us check on our guy, casually packing dried herbs. Over in his villa, his phone suddenly rang. It was Wraith, delivering the Vance family corporate intel. The Vance family revenue heavily relies on Vance Pharmaceuticals. But with Reginald leading, the company is sinking. Orion's Starlight Media does all right, but they desperately lack a blockbuster hit. Wraith just laughed. Sterling heard Orion is dying to buy Lily Evergreen's final novel copyright. But get this, he has no clue Sterling is actually Lily Evergreen. Sterling laughed out loud, asking, is he up to anything else? Wraith quickly replied, he and some friend plan to invest heavily in green sprout tech. Sterling found this highly interesting. He had actually spent time researching alongside his rare medicinal herbs and even registered several patents. He fully planned to transfer those exact patents to Green Sprout Tech soon, ready to help that company absolutely skyrocket. You and I both know exactly what that smirk means. Reginald's family currently gripped all the Vance assets, but now, Sterling held the ultimate winning hand. He casually told Wraith, good work on this. He hung up, his eyes sparkling with pure amusement. What a joke. Orion wants to buy his final novels copyright to build a huge blockbuster and save Starlight Media. Too bad. He will absolutely never get that chance. Sterling whistled happily while packing herbs into wooden boxes. Obsidian, Snow, and Jade wagged their little tails, helping out, completely used to the daily routine. Sterling quickly finished his packing. A soft knock hit the door and a voice rang out. Sterling, are you in your room? Yes, I am. Sterling tucked the wooden box away, told his 3 snakes to hide well, then opened the door. His mom's eyes totally lit up as she pulled him right into the room. Sterling, that fancy suit Mom ordered for you finally arrived. Try it on now, let us see if it fits. 2 staff members carefully brought the sharp suit inside, laid it neatly on his bed, and left, with his mom's very enthusiastic help. Sterling tried the suit on. It fit him perfectly and looked incredibly sharp. His mom tweaked the tiny details, stepping back to admire her son as if looking at a precious treasure. Sterling, tomorrow night, you are going to be the most outstanding prince. Everyone will finally know you are the true young master of the Vance family. She asked him gently, are you nervous at all? Checking his reflection in the mirror, Sterling smiled. No. This is nothing. We all know he had already traveled everywhere, casually attending countless high society banquets. Trust me, he had experienced events far grander than this basic welcome banquet. His mom admired him but worried, saying, this banquet was suggested by Asher. Mom is terrified he and your second uncle and second aunt will try to make things super difficult for you, causing you to lose face and ruining your reputation. Sterling just smiled. Mom, do not worry. Whatever they plot, I have a way to handle it. I will make them suffer the consequences of their own actions. Seeing him so totally confident, his mom felt relieved but still reminded him, all right, Mom trusts you, but always remember, if you cannot handle something, you have Mom and Dad. We are your ultimate backing. His heart felt genuinely warm as he smiled and nodded. Yes, I know. Checking himself in the staring in the mirror, Lyra's eyes gleamed. We are about to witness some serious drama. What will Asher and his family do at the welcome banquet? This means pure chaos. Later that night, Gideon summoned Lyra to the main hall the second she stepped inside. Inside the Astor estate, Lyra spotted Nia sitting right next to their father, acting like a total brat. Dad, you promised you would defend me today, Gideon gave Nia a deeply affectionate look. Do not worry, sweetie, I will not let anyone bully you, Kalen smirked. Lyra's expression darkened. She was his actual biological daughter, but she never got any love, yet this adopted girl was completely pampered. Seeing her, Nia spoke up. Dad, eldest sister is here. Gideon's warm smile vanished instantly. Lyra, I called you over because we got an invitation to the Vance family banquet tomorrow night. Shockingly, it turns out Asher is actually a total fake. Do you still want to marry the true young master of the Vance family, or should we cancel the engagement? Before Lyra could speak, Nia loudly interrupted. What a crazy coincidence. Last month, my big sister became crippled. And this month, the Vance family brings home their real young master, claiming Asher is a fraud. Maybe they just do not want you, so they purposely found a fake substitute. That is honestly so insulting. Nia stared with an obviously gloating look, but Lyra stayed perfectly calm. Dad, there is no need to cancel my engagement. I am fully willing to marry the true young master of the Vance family. Gideon was completely stunned. Are you serious? Nia gasped, faking her absolute shock. Eldest sister, the real heir of the Vance family, is just some random medicine peddler from the countryside. He cannot even compare to Asher. Look, even with your disabled legs, you do not have to settle for him. Lyra just smiled back. Nia, you just insulted the true Vance family heir and managed to insult me at the exact same time. Nia immediately played the victim. Sister, I did not mean it like that. It is just since your injury, you have become so sensitive. Gideon cleared his throat, pretending to be strict. Nia, your sister and I are speaking. Why keep interrupting us? Mind your manners. Nia stuck out her tongue and muttered, Yes, Dad. She tried looking thoroughly scolded, but Gideon was obviously just shielding her. So, have you truly thought this decision through? Are you really marrying the true young master of the Vance family? Gideon pressed. Lyra pulled back her intense gaze. I am absolutely certain. My original agreement was to marry the young master of the Vance family. So if Asher is a fake, then obviously I am done with him. Gideon glanced at Kalen, a subtle, sneaky smile flashing across his eyes before nodding. Very well then, if you agree to this, we will attend the new heir's welcome banquet tomorrow to show our full support. Kalen secretly smirked. A disabled girl marrying a so-called true master. Lyra's life was officially over. Then Gideon suddenly remembered something. Oh, Nia mentioned yesterday that she accidentally misspoke, and you ordered Assistant Bastion to strike her down. Is this true? Lyra froze up, totally surprised her dad would bring this up. Yes, why? Then who gave you permission to teach Nia the rules? Gideon sounded highly dissatisfied. Nia is a proper miss of the Astor family, just because she simply said a couple wrong words. Did you really need to blow it out of proportion and let Assistant Bastion punish her? Lyra let out a freezing, cold laugh. Dad, Nia is just an adopted spare you brought in because Kalen is not your biological son either. Nia's expression instantly turned dark, and Gideon looked absolutely furious. Even if she is not my watch closely, guys. Even if she isn't biological, Nia grew up here and called me dad. I have treated her like my own daughter. You letting your Assistant Bastion hit her was totally out of line. She's been miserable. Apologize to her right now. And as for Bastion daring to strike a lady of the Astor family, I won't let that slide. Fire him immediately. Nia looks super smug here. Eldest sister, just give a sincere apology and I'll forgive you. Bastion stays completely silent. Lyra just stares at her dad for a long moment before sighing. Nia, come here. Nia happily steps right up. You better be sincere, sister, or I won't accept it. Suddenly, Bastion grabs Nia's wrist. No hesitation, he slaps her across the face. Nia drops down hard, completely stunned. Gideon's face turns totally dark with pure fury. Lyra, what are you doing? Lyra just answers flatly, I hit her because she's merely an adopted daughter here, yet she actually dares to tattle right in front of you. She commands Bastion, continue, give her another slap. Smack. Nia rolls right over to Gideon's feet. I hit her because she dared to Mock my crippled legs right to your face. Nia sobs uncontrollably now. Gideon is absolutely furious. Lyra, enough. Your legs are ruined and your temper is just getting worse. You don't even listen to me anymore. Nia glares at Lyra like she wants to drill a hole straight through her. Lyra laughs coldly. Dad, don't forget the power you hold in this family exists because I fought for it before Grandpa. Without me, you were absolutely nothing in the Astor family. Gideon's face turns even uglier. Lyra keeps pushing. Dad thinks just because my legs are crippled, I'm completely useless. You have your power now, and even without me around, you still have Callan to take over the empire I built. Callan jumps in fast. Eldest sister, you misunderstood everything. How could Dad think that? Lyra speaks slowly. No matter what you think while I'm breathing, everything you own, I can destroy at any time. Dad, if that's all, I'm heading out. I actually have an appointment to play a game of chess with Grandpa. She glances at Callan. Speaking of it, Callan has been back for 3 whole years and never played chess with Grandpa, has he? Bastion pushes her out. Now here's where we pay attention. Looking at the sky, Lyra coldly orders Bastion, find someone to investigate my father. I need to confirm his relationship with Nia. Bastion looks shocked. Wait, investigate your father and Nia actually share blood. Lyra nods. She thinks to herself, something is very wrong. My brother was supposedly sent away by Grandpa years ago because of some fortune teller's prediction, but honestly, things are definitely not that simple. Nia holds her bright red cheeks, sitting furiously on the couch. Callan grabs an ice pack and personally applies it to his sister's face. Dad, did you see that? Lyra respects you 0%. These days, she's crippled, yet she acts so arrogant just because Grandpa still values her. Gideon lets out a dark laugh. Like she said, Callan has been back 3 years now and Grandpa has never once played chess with him. Everyone in the family knows Grandpa loves his chess games the most. Being invited to play is a massive sign of his respect and recognition. Callan grits his teeth. Dad, don't worry. Grandpa will recognize me sooner or later. Yeah, he might value Lyra right now. But he hasn't officially announced the heir. That means he's wavering. Maybe he is still hoping Lyra's legs can be completely cured. Nia looks panicked. What if they really heal? Gideon's eyes turn venomous. We all know what that look means. I won't let her heal. I invited every single doctor treating her right now. If she somehow can be cured, I have my ways to ensure those legs stay broken forever. Nia, I'm useless. I couldn't get justice for you today. Worse, I just stood by watching you suffer. Gideon stared at his daughter, completely heartbroken. Nia softened up. Dad, it's fine if I take a hit, but she shows you 0 respect now. She literally said your power only exists because of her. Gideon clenched his fists tight. She is her mother's daughter through and through. Her attitude is exactly the same. A woman who looked down on me as a husband, someone who despises me entirely as a father, then watch me get ruthless. I killed her mother back then. And I can easily kill the daughter right now. He turned to Callan. Did you look into the Vance family's real young master? Callan nodded. Yes, sir, I did. Sterling Vance is the true heir, a village nobody who just sells herbal medicine. Word is, Reginald's family hated him the second he returned. They refused to even acknowledge the kid. Now he is registered to Eric and Ara. Gideon finally exhaled. A heavy sigh of relief. Perfect. As long as this real young master is completely useless, Lyra marrying him will ruin her entire status within the Astor family forever. This right here, this is our golden chance to secure total power for ourselves. They clearly kept Asher away and tossed her some random country bumpkin to shut her up. I really don't get why she is acting so incredibly cocky. Nia just scoffed. Meanwhile, you and I are shifting gears. Lyra slammed down a black chess piece. Grandpa looked right up at her. Did your father spill everything about the Vance family? Yes. Lyra stayed totally locked on the chessboard. So what now are you pushing forward with? The marriage. I am marrying the real young master of the Vance family, her grandfather. Stopped playing entirely. He gave her a dead serious look. Do you understand your current situation? Your legs are crippled. Everyone is gunning for the heir position right now. They want you replaced instantly, and you still dare to marry a Vance boy who literally has absolutely nothing to his name. Lyra stayed completely chill. Grandpa, honestly tell me. Besides me, who in the Astor family can keep a strong and dominating Kim City? Grandpa Astor just let out a cold snort. You are awfully confident, aren't you? Lyra dropped another piece, flashing a relaxed smile. I am just as confident in picking my husband. I only met the Vance family's real young master a single time, but honestly, once was more than enough. Grandpa sat back and pondered her words deeply. When we set up that arranged marriage with the famous Asher, you never said single word, but with this true young master, you are suddenly taking total charge. Surviving a near-death experience really changed your perspective on things, did it not? Lyra smiled. Softly, life is way too short. I need to follow my heart and pick the guy I actually like. I am going to the welcome banquet tomorrow. I want to see exactly what makes this Vance family heir so incredibly special. What made you pick him at first sight anyway? Thinking back on his cocky attitude, Lyra just smiled. Trust me, Grandpa, you are going to absolutely love your future grandson-in-law. Grandpa Astor quietly studied his granddaughter's bright, determined face. He knew her well, always polite and gentle, but absolutely nobody ever really touched her heart. That old arranged marriage to Asher, she treated that like a boring corporate mission, but now, her eyes are practically glowing with hope. Whoever this young man is, you and I are definitely about to find out. Meanwhile, things aren't easy for Lyra, just getting out of the bathroom and pushing her wheelchair to the bed is a struggle. She wanted to text our MC, but he beat her to it. Smirking, she quickly types back, if you remind me daily, I won't forget. Now, you and I know our guy is just sitting at his computer, having just messaged Lyra. After that, he logs straight into his secret author account, Lily Evergreen, sorting out his final novel's copyright. The second he goes online, boom, an absolute flood of messages from excited fans and entertainment companies begging to connect, seeing one from Starlight Media. He just sneers and hits reject instantly, clicking a message from his editor. He types, at the end of the month, set up a small meetup, invite every single company desperate to buy the rights to my final book. He adds, the directors must attend in person. I want to handpick my partner. A cold smile creeps across his face. Orion is trying to pull off something massive at Starlight Media. He definitely won't pass up this golden opportunity. When Orion figures out our MC actually owns that copyright, his face is going to be priceless. Editor Lan quickly replies, only you pull off this kind of flex. Your last 3 books completely blew up after getting adapted. This final one is worth way more. So, are you writing a new novel? He types back, no plans for now. That's totally fine. Real masterpieces value quality over quantity anyway. Honestly, those 4 hits are enough to live super comfortably. For life, I'll set up the meetup soon. Wait for my update. After wrapping that up, he shuts off the computer, grabs his phone and flops onto the bed, opening that text Lyra sent 10 minutes ago. Need me to remind you every day. Her real goal isn't about the medicine at all. She obviously just wants him to talk to her daily. Lyra replies instantly. You guessed right again, he playfully teases. Before this, you really hadn't flirted with anyone, huh? She fires back. With my old status, did I need to flirt? She quickly adds, anyway, since I'm officially engaged to you, no more flirting required. With you, I could seriously talk until the very ends of the earth. He jokes back, I bet you're just buttering me up so I heal your legs. Just like Orion claimed, she dares him, why don't you bring that guy over tomorrow so he can say that right to my face? Reading her fiery reply, our MC completely loses it laughing. He chats with Lyra late into the night before finally crashing. Next morning, his phone is sitting right next to his head. His pet snake, Jade, totally left it on the nightstand. Seeing him awake, Jade happily slithers over, grabbing the Phone to hand it directly to him. Good boy. He sits up, rubs its scaly head, checking the screen. Lyra messaged. The welcome banquet is tonight. Let's start the leg treatment early. Glancing at the clock, it's just past 8 a.m. He texts back. 10 a.m., usual place. He casually feeds his 3 snakes some freeze-dried spiders, washes his face and heads downstairs for breakfast. After asking Martha, he learns that his brand new parents went early to check the banquet hall, totally terrified of anything going wrong. Tonight, is the young master heading out today? Martha asks. The madam told me. You need to take 2 bodyguards just in case. He nods. Got it. Then he calmly finishes his meal. Suddenly remembering something, he dials Orion. Meanwhile, over with Orion, he has been up all night. The brutal pain in his right leg constantly reminds him that he is completely crippled. He has zero idea how to face his family's future. Suddenly, a knock. All right, let's dive in. A knock outside. Big brother, are you awake? Orion just stayed completely silent, not ready to explain his crippled leg. Big brother, Dad told me to ask if you're not going to the company today. Orion just stared at a dozen missed calls from his assistant on his screen. His mood darkened even more. The door went quiet. Orion curled up, enduring the pain. Then his phone buzzed again. Annoyed, he wanted to ignore it, but seeing Sterling's name flash on the screen, he froze. He didn't dare hang up on him. After a long, tense pause, he answered, come find me later and take a trip with me. Lyra wants to confront you. Sterling's calm voice echoed from the other end. Confront me about what? Didn't you say she was treating you well because she needed you? I thought I could fix her leg. Orion gritted his teeth, staying totally silent to keep his composure intact. Why did you tell her? Is there a problem? I'm just a link in her plan anyway. How could Sterling's words be so infuriating? Orion took a heavy breath. I understand. 10 minutes later, Asher saw Orion limping downstairs and quickly showed real concern. Big brother, is your leg better? Beatatrix also looked totally worried. Orion, tell Mom what happened to your leg. Did that brat Sterling do this? Mom, don't ask. Orion coldly cut her off. I'll tell you when it's time. Don't bother me right now. Beatatrix quickly nodded. Okay. Mom won't ask. Asher knew Orion's explosive temper and didn't dare provoke him. Seeing him leave without eating, Beatatrix quickly asked, Orion, are you heading to the company with 0 breakfast? No need. Orion didn't even look back. Just limping away, Beatatrix turned and worriedly told Asher, find your big brother today. Ask what happened to his leg. He's always loved you most. He'll definitely tell you. Yes, Mom. Asher nodded, though he figured asking now would just make him angrier. Now watch this shift. Orion struggled to reach the front of the East Villa and called Sterling. I'm here waiting outside. Wait as long as you have to. Do you need me to give you an exact time? Orion strictly gritted his teeth. I understand. He stood under a tree's shade, waiting for a full half an hour before seeing Sterling leisurely stroll out. Sterling, are you deliberately humiliating me? Orion clenched his fists, fighting his boiling anger. Looking at his humiliated face, Sterling just sneered. Really, you can't even handle this tiny bit of grievance, Orion. In the past, you people naturally told me I should be the bigger person and not hold a grudge over Asher being switched. But because I was switched, I suffered so much out there. This somewhat softened Orion's anger. He thought about how Sterling wandered the streets and suffered. If I had been raised in the Vance family, I wouldn't have gone through that. It's true Asher's mom secretly switched you guys, but Asher was young. Then he's totally innocent. Orion spoke dryly. How boring. Sterling picked his ear. You people always just say that exact line. If his mother hadn't intentionally switched him, of course he'd be innocent, but that was a life his mother schemed for him. You really still say he's innocent? Well, then there are way too many innocent people in this world. The children of human traffickers are also innocent because those traffickers kidnap kids just to make dirty money, trying to provide a great life for their own kids. Also, the very night before I returned to the Vance family, your super innocent little brother actually hired someone to try and kill me. That's Impossible, go check it yourself. Orion froze, his tight fists slowly unclenching. You just humiliate me to make me feel the exact same pain, Sterling smirked. Exactly. True empathy simply does not exist. To make those arrogant hypocrites finally understand the reality, they absolutely must experience it themselves. Sterling laughed out loud, flashing a smile that chilled Orion to the bone. Brace yourselves. This wild game is just getting started. Later, when your precious family loses absolutely everything and goes totally bankrupt, you will shatter. Sterling then swaggered right toward the Vance family garage. Orion watched him walk away, that usual pure disdain gone, replaced by something way more complex. Still, he refused to believe Asher would dare hire a killer for Sterling. Meanwhile, Asher headed to his room, getting ready for Starlight Media. Glancing out the window, he spotted Orion following Sterling. He absolutely panicked, rushing over and gripping the windowsill in pure shock. Wait, didn't Orion head to the office? Why is he seeking out Sterling? Could he have actually been manipulated into taking Sterling's side? Realizing this possibility, Asher felt a massive wave of total panic. His entire survival in the Vance family relied on his value to his adoptive father, acting as Beatatrix's little trophy and soaking up the endless pampering from Orion and Seraphina. Losing Orion's blind support meant it would be incredibly tough for him to survive there. You and I know he won't let that happen.